Here we are at Ageas Bowl. We're just coming to the end of the lunch break, which was delayed because of, bad light, really. It wasn't rain, but bad light. And I must say, I'm being honest, that it really hasn't improved that much. It's just this low, dark cloud is hanging over the ground. It's not going anywhere. It's not raining. And at the moment, the floodlights are on and the umpires are in the middle, and we're going to have play. But I do fear a bit for later on this afternoon, unless somehow we can find some breaks in this, because otherwise I'm afraid it'll simply bad light stop play, and like last night when we stopped at about 5:30, I think it was, when they came off round about then. I can feel that same thing happening again now. But anyway, for now we've got cricket, and England still trying to find their first breakthrough. Michael Vaughan's here. Maybe a change of fortune for England. It's doing a bit, Michael.
Yeah, it is. It's a typical kind of English conditions pitch. It's a bit of swing, bit of seam. Cloud cover helps. There's a hint of green grass on it this week. Maybe England had something to do with that. When you think of the last wicket at Old Trafford, I don't think they were that happy with it, even though they won. There were a few grumbles around the surface in Manchester. I thought it was a fantastic one for Test match cricket. Well, this one is typically English. There's lots happening for them.
That's interesting. Umpire Kettleborough is doing something with Michael Gough's trousers there. Looks like he's sort of doing them up or adjusting them somehow. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. They are quite a close-knit team, these umpires, aren't they?
Well, they've been together for a while, haven't they?
Well, they have. But that was, that looked, I don't know, sort of brotherly love. I'm not sure what's going on, but he's hitching up his trousers now, and he's telling Ollie Pope all about it at Square Leg. So let's see if England can get a breakthrough here. 155 for 5. Ball's moving around, beating the bat, and Babar Azam is just demonstrating again what a lovely player he is. But with so many runs coming through the leg side, what can they do? How can they?
Yeah, 86% of his scoring areas are on the onside. But he's left it beautifully outside off stump. He's just letting the ball go through to Jos Buttler. Knows exactly where, or has done so far, known exactly where his off stump has been. He's just waited for those straight ones to work on the onside.
Broad from the far end starts things up and bowls wide outside the off stump. And Bubba allows that to go through. Butler's on his hands and knees, taking that in front of Joe Root, who seems to be chief team ball shiner at the moment, working very hard. He's got a big red stripe down the right side of the back of his trousers.
But in these conditions, Aggers, as a right-hander, and the ball's swinging so much, the hardest shot is that extra cover drive, because it has to be under your nose. So I just wonder if England can create a gap there for Babar Azam and say, look, you can drive a ball if you like. There's a big space for you. If you get it slightly wrong as a batsman, you know that the outside edge will be found.
Here's Broad from the far end, bowling and beats the bat. As Babar looks to push drive, really. It wasn't a full follow-through, but looking to drive between Wokes at mid-off. And Broad, the bowler, who purses his lips and thinks, another day. But just moved away, and some bounce there as well.
Yeah, there's not been many balls come down the ground, which tells you that it's not an easy pitch to drive on. A lot of the scoring areas for Pakistan have been the onside, just working it off the hip or square of the wicket on the offside, so that suggests that England are potentially a little bit too short.
Here's Broad again bowling, and Bower lines this up and allows that to go by. Well, I'm with you. I'm taking extra cover out, and I'm putting him in good old-fashioned gully.
Yeah.
And so there you go. You have a drive, and they've got 3 slips and a gully, and it might be that thicker edge that goes to gully.
I like it. Nice captaincy, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to learn. But yeah, best a little bit square. They've got this new position, haven't they? Sort of deep gully or backward point, almost on that gully line. Here's Broad again, white bandana on, and he bowls outside the off stump once more, moves away, and Babar again has a look.
Well, as you see that ball there, I think if you get your field and you bring cover point, it's about 10 yards in front to gully, and you say to Babar Azam, there's a big gap there. That ball there, he potentially may have driven it.
Yep.
But he doesn't, because he knows there's no real reward for him just at this stage, so he's letting balls go just outside off stump with a hint of swing, going, nah, I'm not interested. As a batsman, when you see gaps, you can't help yourself.
Test of patience. He looks at Broad is deliberately bowling outside the off stump. There's a man back a deep square leg, and he bowls again wide of the off stump, saying to Azam, there you go. But you're quite right. He's saying, well, there's no point at the moment, because, there's a man there at extra cover. It's a risk me playing the shot anyway. So, nope, I'll just let it go. And he's dancing on his toes at the moment.
Well, that's the skill as a bowler and as a captain, is to work out what are the hardest shots to play on a surface. And I think the drive is a real hard shot to play on this wicket. So then you go, OK, that's the hardest shot. Let's create a little bit of something there for him. Just dangle the carrot.
Yeah, the next one then, he's got a bit straight. And so Babar, for all the oohs and ahs from the slip cordon, flicks that nonchalantly away out to deep mid-wicket. And keeps the strike, which is also a sign of a good batsman. He likes doing that. Last ball of the over, I think if you're batting with Babar Azam, you get ready to run because he likes the strike. And he's picked one off there. 156 for 5. Babar 46. Rizwan has 12. And Stuart Broad's engaging in conversation there. Lovely arrival of some cheese at lunchtime. Thank you to our friends there in Lincolnshire. It's kept morale up. And what was better still, actually, even better, there's a box there for the England team. So managed, I think, to get it through all the various disinfectant zones and everything else, and I think Joe Root's going to have a nice surprise when he goes to his room tonight.
Bit of cheese.
Was a great selection.
Not so sure Joe Root will want to share it with a glass of red, but I think we could, Jonathan.
Oh, OK. Been a nice thought. Anderson's on, and he's bowling from this end, and he's on his way now and bowls outside the off stump. There's no stroke from Babar Azam. I'm not sure who's in charge of our entertainment. It's not Andy, is it?
Well, I don't know. He's ready to speak, so maybe it is Andy. Is it you?
Stats are the only entertainment I need.
Oh, right.
That's the 36th ball Babar Azam has left in this innings. He's faced 118 deliveries. 30% of balls in this innings he's left. That's his highest percentage of leave-alones in any of the 33 Test innings he's played when he's faced at least 25 balls. Over the course of his career, he's left 13% of delivery, so he's been very disciplined.
I love it.
Andy's on fire.
Yeah, I love it. The leave. Just don't get taught it, do you? The leave.
I think the bio bubble's good for Andy.
Yes.
In goes Anderson over the wicket, bowls very full, and he drives up towards mid-off. It's quite straight. A juggly stop there from Curran, rolling over. And there's no run.
That was the way that he got out at Old Trafford. 69 over 9. Jimmy Anderson, full delivery, enticed the drive on that occasion. It was a similar kind of delivery, but he plays that a lot better. Yeah, the leave, it's such an important non-shot on a pitch like this, knowing exactly where your off stump is.
Still 3 slips there. Anderson was prowling in, bowls a little short, and Babar could stand up and play that without really moving his feet at all. Just waits for the ball to arrive. Mohammad Rizwan's doing all sorts of loosening up down at this end. He hasn't faced a ball yet. I don't know what he's up to there. But anyway, sorts of strange movements there with his... He's on his hands and knees.
He's agile, isn't he?
Very agile.
Yeah, he's very loose.
He's a lovely keeper.
He is, yeah. Good hands. Noisy as well.
Yeah, very. Anderson wheels round. In past umpire Gough, bowls a nice length, and Babar just waits for this. Again, not really moving his feet very much. It's picked up by Crawley. They're still persisting with this extra cover fielder.
Yeah, it's a bit cat and mouse here. Pakistan are just hanging in there. I think, with 62.3 overs gone, with the ball still doing plenty, I think Babar Azam will have realised that if they can just sneak towards 225, somewhere around that figure, 225, 250 would be a very good score in these conditions. But I think he knows as a player of high class that it's been so hard for him to get 46.
He's waiting now as Anderson's there again. Nice length outside the off stump this time. Babar isn't tempted. And one more goes to Andy's stats there as he lets that one go through.
He's celebrating to my right. But I think Babar Azam, high-class players, generally, if it's hard for them, they should be saying to them, look, if it's hard for me, he's the 6th best batsman in the world.
But he's the highest averaging batsman
if
it's the last couple of years.
Well, you say if it's hard for Babar Azam, it's going to be hard for everyone. So he can sneak his team to around 225. I think Pakistan are in this contest.
2 balls to go. Rizwan had better get in the blocks, and that one's nudged away into the leg side. There he goes.
The nerdle.
He's taken another one, but there's 1 ball to go, so at least Rizwan's going to get a sighter. He does. He loves to keep the strike. And
Darren Lehman used to be playing for Yorkshire. He was brilliant. You kind of knew in the 5th or 6th delivery of you might as well just run, because he would work a way of making sure that he kept the strike.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Babar's the same. And for all the loosening up that Mohammad Rizwan has done, he better be shot in the book down the non-striker's end. Let's see what he gets up to when the ball is actually coming down to him. You can't just let it go after all that. He's played virtually every shot in the coaching manual down at the non-striker's end in the course of that over.
Well, he's also just playing with his Velcro of his gloves. He's twitchy, isn't he?
Yeah. Now Anderson's relaying the sawdust again for his run-up. He's obviously got a bit of a problem here. It's interesting, they haven't had that much rain, but clearly his run-up is being affected by the damp. So here's the last ball of the over, the first delivery that Rizwan has faced since lunch. Anderson. Arms pumping, in he goes, bowls outside the off stump, and after all that he lets that one go. So 63 overs gone, it's 158 for 5. I was sitting out listening just before lunch and I heard a cry, I think from Jos Buttler, come on lads, they're going nowhere, which was right. And Phil Tufnell's here. I was just saying not so very long ago, just making sure you're okay, Tuffle. I haven't seen you all day. You're all right. Good. You didn't come into the woods with me this morning. You're invited.
I'll come in the woods with you tomorrow morning, Agus.
Excellent. It's lovely up there.
Stroll.
Squirrels, dog walkers. That's really nice.
Phil's I've just seen him downstairs with his chicken drumsticks.
Oh, was he? Yes. He was on fire last night demonstrating Eton fives. He's obviously a very good player at it too.
Well, he's got a few tricks, this Phil.
158 for 5. Up comes Broad and he bowls, and Babar Azam allows that to go through outside the off stump. No change to the field. Again, just all the time that steady movement away from the bat, and Broad can just want to come back from that line, not too straight. That might make Babar think a little bit as well.
Well, I think England are playing the game is that they don't feel that Pakistan are taking anything away from them. So that's probably the reason why Joe Root's not creating any gaps to potentially allow Babar Azam to hit a couple of boundaries. And he also knows that they shouldn't be thinking this way, because 17 overs in this test match is a long time.
Yeah.
And that's the second new ball. England have got to try and strike now.
Broad bowls down the leg side. Got to get that one right, and Babar just looked at that and didn't really try too hard to get too much bat on it.
Yeah, if they get to that second new ball, Pakistan will be beyond 200. And I think this is the kind of wicket that you should be really looking to bowl an opposing team out for around this 160, 180 mark. It's done plenty, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Catching was not at his best yesterday. I'm looking at the cordon now just to see if there's anything changed in the stagger, the spacing. I still think Rory Burns and Dob Sidley are too close. Joe Root and Rory Burns seem to have a nice gap between them, but it's that second and third positioning.
Broad bowls. Oh, that comes cutting back. That's the one I was looking for. And Babar played that nicely, actually. But at least it's in his mind that Broad has got that one coming back and threatening the pads. Jofra's heading for the nets. He's padded up. He's had a busy day today. He's bowled a bit. He's kept wicket. And now he's off to go batting. It's an interesting look. He's got all his protective equipment, and I mean all of it, outside his clothes. That's not a look that you often see.
Looks like he's got a blue thigh pad.
And he goes, bowls, and that's edged and caught behind. That's exactly the line. And Babar is out. Lovely ball from Broad. He nipped one back. That one's just held its own a little. And Babar Azam felt he had to play. And he probably did on the strength of the last delivery. And it's nicked through to Jos Buttler, and England finally have that breakthrough with Babar Azam, the wicket they really wanted as well. Caught behind off Broad. It didn't do a lot. I think the previous ball had a bit to do with that. It just held its own, and a nice outside edge for Buttler.
Oh, that's a beautiful delivery. Had to play. There's just enough movement there. Just squared him up just slightly. And Babar Azam strolls off for 47. A very well executed 47 in tough conditions. It's about now that if you're Dom Sibley and Rory Burns and Zach Crawley and Joe Root, you start thinking about, well, what's it going to be like when we get the chance to bat on this surface? Yasir Shah, he'll come out swinging. You know, it probably requires that. Probably requires Pakistan to try and be a little bit busier. It looks to me that England will just hang in there if you're not playing too many strokes, and there'll be a ball exactly like that one Babar's just got just around the corner. So it may be worth Pakistan just gambling a little bit here and trying to get the scoreboard ticking. Yeah, Mohamed Abbas on a wicket like this is going to be interesting.
Very. Yasir Shah's on his way, and Yes, Jofra's headed for the net. That's a very unusual look. It looks as he's wearing a codpiece, which is not a sight that you often see with cricketers, but every bit of his protective equipment was worn outside his clothes.
Yeah, he had the jock strap on the outside as well, It was... I've never seen those thigh pads, the blue ones.
Anyway.
And the inner thigh pad was the same colour. Obviously a company that's made it for him. You get that these days. You get a lot of the players. I used to have one specifically made in Australia. Renfrey was the company that they come and measure you up for your thigh and get it absolutely spot on. A bit of toweling inside to make sure it's nice and comfortable on the skin.
We had ones on a really hard surface, and you were often given out, caught off the thigh pad. It sounded a bit like bat on ball. Right, Yasir Shah, entertaining is the best way to describe his batting, but he's going to find it pretty tough to play many shots on here. And Broad's in the hunt. He's taken his second wicket.
Same field.
It is. 3 slips, ring of 3 in the offside. Mid-on's quite straight. And there's a deep square leg. I'm not quite sure if he's necessary, is he? You want to keep on strike, don't you? And a long leg. No, Broad. Runs in now and he bowls to Yasir Shah. Oh, there's an elaborate drive. And really not the stroke for these conditions, Yasir.
Did you see what he did straight? Look, he's 3 times now he's practiced the leave.
Yep.
Straight away, played the big drive, and then within a second he's practicing the almost like the Courtney Walsh leaves.
It was a booming drive. He really went at that. With nothing near the pitch of the ball at all. And Joe Root's got a smile on his face.
Well, he better get ready because I would think one of those 3 slips is going to get a chance if he keeps playing like that.
He might get a bit of a scorcher as well if he goes at it like that. 158 for 6. There's 1 ball to go in the over. Broad's on his way from that far end again and bowls, and now that's beautifully played. Defensively off the front foot, and Crawley fields at cover. So success for Stuart Broad. And he's now taken 2 for 34. And it's 158 for 6. But that wicket took some prizing out.
Yeah, that beautiful bowling. High class from Stuart Broad. What's Richard Kettleby asking for now? Oh, the jackets. The jackets are coming out for the umpires.
Oh.
Must be getting a little bit chilly.
Well, interesting. 1 or 2 of the players have got sleeveless sweaters on. And not all of them by any means. It's certainly not. It's not as oppressive as yesterday. So I hope that it'll keep the thunderstorms away. But the light it's knife edge stuff really at the moment, don't you think?
Well, I would say, Aggers, I mean, with the criticism that you gave of the Manchester weather, that you would have found that the cricket, if it had been played in Manchester the last 2 days, I don't think they'd have missed a ball.
It's disappointing when your friends let you down.
Yes.
And I had a message from Mark Chapman yesterday saying precisely that. Blue sky. Disappointing. In goes Anderson, bowls. Oh, rears away. That really flew from just short of a length. The batting won't be any easier for England, that is for sure.
I'm interested to see what an extra 2 or 3 miles an hour which Naseem Shah, Shaheen Shah Afridi may provide on this surface will do, because 83 to 85 miles an hour, which Anderson and Broad are bowling at, is doing plenty and it's zipping through. Average speed for Anderson 85.1.
Yeah.
Fastest ball 88 miles an hour for Jimmy.
Yep. He's got some rhythm in this game. That really went, and it moved way off the seam as well and bounced. 158 for 6. Anderson over the wicket, moves in, bowls, and again it bounced, and Rizwan giving himself a little bit of room, manages to steer the ball safely to Sibley at 3rd slip. We might be looking at that. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the slips are almost always inhabited by the batsman. So they stand there, they see a ball like that previous one, going, yeah, come on, Jimmy, that's great. You sort of turn around to each other and go,
All they'll know. They both know that it's going to be very, very difficult against the Pakistan 3 seamers on this wicket. You have to play very nicely indeed.
It's footwork, isn't it? It's what they're going to have to absolutely nail. They've got to be
footwork, precision, game plan. I mean, what's on, what's not. Bit of fortune. I think you'll need a little bit of luck on this kind of wicket.
Yeah, but you're really disciplined, like Bubba was. Really, he really got his head down. So there's now very much a backward point. Anderson goes in, bowls to Rizwan, who comes shuffling forward to a ball that's pretty straight and full.
I thought the 2 interviews that I've heard this year, which have been tremendous to listen to, was Stuart Broad's here, which basically guaranteed him in the next Test match he was going to play. And then Jimmy Anderson's this Monday. I thought it was a senior pro experience. I'll speak on Monday before the Thursday start, I'll guarantee my place in the
Well,
team.
that's how I read it, I must say. I'm not sure everyone did, but that's definitely how I read that. Anderson again bowls, and that's worked away into the leg side. She'll get 2 here as Rizwan's dashing for that far end. Down goes Bess and throws it back. And 2 runs taken, 160 for 6.
Well, once he'd spoken and spoken great about his position, about his future, it'd have been very difficult to Joe Root to knock on his door and say, oh, by the way, you're not playing.
Well, that's exactly. But if he hadn't played, and someone here had done really well, and he didn't play in the final test, where would that have left him? In goes Anderson again, and he bowls down the leg side. He'll be cross about that. That was well off target and collected by
I think,
Josh
I think,
Butler.
Agassi, you earn the right when you play for such a long period of time to have those kind of
Yes.
experience moments where you can stick your hand and say, I'll do an interview, I'll do the press, I'll say what I want to say. He's earned the right to do pretty much what he wants, Jimmy Anderson.
Walking slowly back and mopping his brow, looking thoughtful at the moment. There's some fiddling going on, not least Rizwan with his gloves. The ball slowly being returned. Oh, Stuart Broad doesn't like it. You don't want to change that ball, do you? It's going all over the place. He's giving it to the umpire. He's putting it through the ring gauge. And he's just throwing it back again. But I think the ball's swinging. It's cutting about. 160 for 6. 1 ball remains. They'll want to keep Rizwan down at that end if they can. Anderson runs up, bowls to him. He feels for this and runs the ball down to that backward point position. And that's the end of the over. So 1 wicket for England in those 20 minutes. And Pakistan are 160 for 6. Fascinating cricket. It really is. The ball's doing quite a lot. Batting is not easy. And after thoughts from Michael Vaughan, they were joined by Isha Guha.
Yeah, it's slow going for Pakistan. And it's because it's so difficult. And ball isn't doing it all the same, so some balls are swinging, some balls aren't. Looks to me like from around 4 stump the ball's swinging. As soon as the bowler gets it straight, it goes straight on. Sometimes have those kind of days, but there's certainly plenty out there for the seamers. It's not easy for the keeper. I've just seen a rerun on television of a lot of Babar Azam's leaves when the ball's swinging after he's left the ball, and Josh Butler's having to dive all over the place. Afternoon, Ish.
Afternoon to you, Michael. Stuart Broad will continue from the pavilion end. He's got 2 men out deep on the leg side. Yasir Shah on strike with 3 slips in position as Broad is in. Bowls nearly struck on the pads, but he manages to get batter on the ball as he looks to play it through mid-wicket. Pops back to the bowler, and he's got a smile on his face now, Yasir Shah. Fairly jovial sort of character.
He's always got a smile on his face.
Yeah.
Loves the game.
Yeah, he does. Enjoys being out there, and we were both there, of course, weren't we, for
Adelaide.
his century.
I still can't remember how he got that 100. I mean, I was there commentating. To get 100 against that Australian attack.
As Broad is in and bowls to Shah, who's whipping off his hip out to deep square. It falls just past the umpire as Josh Butler runs out to collect it, and he is off the mark. So 161 for 6. In fact, it's been signalled a leg by, so he will remain on naught. He stands at the non-striker's end. Mohammad Rizwan then, he's the man who's going to have to navigate through this tricky phase. England right on top. You can just sense the bowlers are really G'd up here. They're on a bit of a roll. You can smell blood as Broad past the stumps, bowls short. Rizwan pulls. There's an edge. Josh Butler parries it over the bar, and Joe Root comes in to collect the ball. And they'll push back for 2. But there was an opportunity there for Josh Butler, diving away to his left.
It's tempted. It's a good bouncer because it's straight and it seams on it. Yeah, it's high to his left. He's at full stretch. Does he get a good enough leap on Josh Butler? I'm just trying to see here from the replay. He should be catching that ish. He gets 2 hands, he parries it, just as you mentioned, like parries it over the crossbar. He should be catching that.
So another bit of disappointment for Josh Butler. A couple of missed opportunities for him in the last test matches. Broad comes in again, running towards us. Bowles full, strikes him on the pad, but there's a half appeal. Maybe there was some inside edge on it from Rizwan.
Yeah, that's a chance. He was so honest in his interview after Old Trafford. He said, look, my keeping wasn't good enough. I owed the team plenty. We should have been chasing 100 less. And again, 2 or 3 of the chances that if they're real difficult flying one-handers, these chances are pretty straightforward for keepers.
Rizwan crouches, clips through mid-wicket out to the deep mid-wicket boundary. Deep square, sprints to the ball. Ali Pope out there, turns and throws as they settle for the 1. So
You can ask Andy, do you have any stats on drop catches on this England Test match team? Because over the last few years, in my mind, they do tend to drop a lot of catches.
Yesterday we were looking at slip catches. Cricket's put up a tweet said only Bangladesh in the last it was 2 years have a worse slip catch success percentage than England.
arms pumping from broad. He bowls. Shah up on his toes in the air and working it to the leg side, and won't take the single as Buttler comes round. So end of the over here at the Ageas. 164 for 6, then 66 overs have been bowled. Rizwan on 17, Yasir Shah yet to get off the mark. Important breakthrough of Babar Azam, key wicket for England, as he batted beautifully this morning with lots of discipline and determination.
Jos Buttler's just had an energy drink taken out by Ben Folkes. Ben Folkes with his gloves on as well, just to make sure that there's no disease passed on. That's an interesting. Straight away you drop a catch and he's asked for one of those energy sachets, like gels. So the Cricket stat do all catches, so
yeah, that was just
keeping
specifically slip catching yesterday.
Right.
So I'll have a dig around in their wonderful system.
It does seem to me that England have had a problem for a while with the catching in Test match cricket, and again you're looking at big series away from home. India potentially this winter, if that goes ahead. Australia in a year and a half's time. You just can't afford to drop. If you drop Steve Smith, Virat Kohli in their own backyard, pretty much guarantee they're going to make you pay.
Anderson pushes away. He bowls a good length delivery, just misses the top of off as Rizwan looks to drive. It goes between bat and pad as it goes through to Jos Buttler.
Well, I was talking about Babar Azam and his game plan on this wicket. It was perfect. Leave, wait for the straight one. The hardest shot to play is the drive, particularly on the up to a left delivery, because you've got no idea what it's going to do. Or the highest risk shot that you can possibly take on against Jimmy Anderson. Rizwan there.
Here comes Anderson again, past the stumps, bowls. Rizwan clips away down to the fine leg boundary. Chris Woakes comes off there and attacks the ball as he throws it in now. We'll settle for the 1. Rizwan to 18 then, 165 for 6. Gloomy conditions here in Southampton. It's been grey and overcast all morning. Slightly cooler, much cooler than yesterday, where it was hot and humid. It felt like we were in Sri Lanka at one stage. Just the humidity that we had outside, and now it's typical English conditions.
Where were you for the electric storm on Wednesday evening? I think it was Wednesday evening. It was a beauty.
I have no idea, if I'm honest, Michael.
Studied it.
Anderson bowls to Shah on the back foot, defends back down the pitch.
Yeah, and it's, I had to film it. I got outside.
What day is it today, even?
It's Friday.
It's Friday, okay.
Yeah,
so Wednesday was the evening.
2 days ago.
Okay, yeah, I was here.
It was Wednesday night, or was it Tuesday night the electric storm came? Might have been Tuesday night. I'm not too sure, but it was worth watching. The Aussies are coming to town each.
Yes, they are.
September. Good to hear.
Yep, I'll spend a couple of days in Derby before heading to Southampton. It's a strong squad as well that they bring as Anderson is in again. Shah beats the edge of his bat and goes through to Buttler. Another good let delivery from James Anderson.
Like when that went through head high to Jos Buttler, decent length, play and miss, and it's flat. I mean, unless Butler's a little bit closer than what it was at Old Trafford, this pitch is a bit quicker, but that's flown through to Buttler. Yeah, there's some good players. I mean, understandably, I don't think you're going to get too many injuries throughout lockdown, or you shouldn't do. Yeah, Justin Lang has picked his full strength armoury.
Flashes of orange from the soles of Anderson's shoes as he bowls now to Shah, who gets off the mark, works it leg side to square leg, who's just been shifted out to the deep square boundary, and will pick up the single. So Pakistan to 166 for 6 now. Yeah, some good names in there. Aaron Finch, of course, fabulous century that he scored here in a T20 international. He will be captaining the side. Pat Cummins, a vice captain. Some names that you might not have heard much about.
Oh,
Josh Philippe.
Yeah, Josh Philippe is a tremendous wicketkeeper batsman. Just will he get an opportunity, because opening batsman in the Big Bash, and with Warner and Finch, can't imagine they're going to break that partnership up.
Anderson bowls back of a length to Rizwan, pushing to the offside. He scuttles down the wicket, but then is sent back by his partner as Crawley is quick to the ball, sends a throw in, end of the over then. 166 for 6 Pakistan. Yeah, Daniel Sams, the left arm all-rounder from New South Wales.
I'll tell you, I've just over the back in the Colt ground here, the Pakistan one-day team are practicing, and I don't know who was bowling there, but he's just been clobbered onto the golf course. I don't know who the left-hand bat, but it was a tremendous strike. I think it's landed on the 18th.
I hope they shouted 4, as someone did when I was on the golf course.
Well, you don't
a
mind on
couple
a
of
golf
weeks ago,
course getting
Michael.
hit by a golf ball, but
Well,
if you're on a golf course, you get hit by
what
a
are the
cricket ball,
odds?
you're slightly unlucky, aren't you?
What are the odds of being hit by a golf ball, though?
Keep your eye on the ball. Did they shout 4?
Please.
Did they shout 4 to you?
Broad comes in on angle, bowls short to Yasir Shah, back of a length as he prods at one outside.
Where were you,
the
in the
off stump.
bushes, and it hit you?
Point, no run.
Like looking for your
No,
ball?
I was with Vic Marks and Michael Carberry. We were here for the one-dayers, and it was my first time on the golf course for 2 years. And we were on the 10th, and we were holding people up, so we did usher them through. We did say you can come through, but they probably should have waited until we were past the green.
So you've called them through and they just fired balls at you.
And all I heard was 4 as Broad comes in, and it's a swipe outside the off stump from Shah. He misses it completely, goes through to Butler, and now again just rehearsing the Steve Smith leave, wafting his bat all over the place. So I heard the call, and it actually was quite dangerous, because I turned around. I don't think Michael Carberry had heard anything at all, and I just put my hands on my head, crouched down. I didn't hear anything, nothing. So I started leaning up, at which point, as Broad bowls to Yasir Shah, who does connect with this one. This is a lovely balanced drive to the cover boundary, picks up 4, just lent on it. Bit of width from Stuart Broad, back of a length, and Pakistan go to 170 for 6, Yasir to 5.
Well, what a shot that is. It's a length ball, as you say, Ish. He just leans on it, times it perfectly. Yeah, he's going to play a few strokes. Those leaves that he keeps kind of gimmicking after playing a big drive, I don't think he's quite in that mindset. He's going to play a few.
Yeah, that was a decent strike as Broad pushes away now, and he comes past the umpire. Shah. Well, is there a little edge through to the keeper? There's a muted appeal from the slip cordon. He did look to play, back of a length. This one coming in on the angle. Whether he just got his bat out of the way in time. Given not out, and England haven't reviewed. He's just managed to drop his hands in the nick of time. As the ball gets tossed around the infield, back to Stuart Broad wearing his karate-style headband, tied at the back. Well, just to finish that story, Michael Vaughan has actually shifted out, but for the purpose of the listeners, it smacked me on my middle finger as Broad is into Yasir Shah, looking to leave the ball, but it hits the bat as it comes through, and he manages to keep it down as it goes into the ground, and to Rory Burns at second slip. But it was flush. It was flush from about 190 yards on the finger, and well, the bruising came out immediately, and I was fortunate enough that it wasn't broken in the end. Anyway, Broad back at the top of his mark, positions the ball in his hand quite deliberately. Fingers over the seam as he bowls, beats the edge again of Yasir Shah, who again rehearses the leave, and has real signs of frustration for Stuart Broad. Shake of the head as he continues through his bowling follow through. Of course, umpires not carrying jumpers or caps for the bowlers, and he goes to his position at mid-on for James Anderson. 170 for 6 then Pakistan here. Run rate of 2.5. It's been tricky circumstances for the batters in the morning session all day long really, and yesterday. Perfect conditions for this attack of swing bowlers.
Looking at Stuart Broad's statistics for this summer, having an extraordinary summer. 24 wickets currently at an average of 12.7.
It's outstanding, isn't it, as Anderson is at the crease, bowled short to Rizwan, who's pulling. Stuart Broad diving to his right at mid-on, very much in front of the wicket there, got hold of it as Rizwan comes through for a single, goes to 19, 171 for 6 then.
So currently the first bowler in 20 years in an English Test summer to have 20 or more wickets at an average under 14. Dominic Cork, 20 wickets at 12.2 in 2000. Courtney Walsh also averaged 12.8 that summer. So this is outstanding for Broad. He's never averaged under 22 in an English summer before.
Anderson in on an angle to Shah, who's back and defending, back to the bowler.
However, in 10 of the previous 11 summers before this one, he has averaged below 30, only in 2017, when he still took 20 wickets, but an average of 33, as he averaged over 30. So hugely consistent through his career. But this summer has been truly extraordinary for him.
I'd be interested to know how much fuller he's bowling. There's been talk about him pushing the ball up a little bit more as Anderson approaches the crease now. Yasir Shah edges, and that's taken by Jos Buttler. Well, it was a flowing drive, and he hangs his head back. Yasir Shah, he will be dismissed for 5 as the players gather together now. Lots of fist pumping going on for the players with James Anderson, and that makes it 7 wickets down now for Pakistan as Mark Ramprakash comes in.
Well, afternoon, and I've brought a wicket, which is pretty unusual actually, but not unusual for Jimmy Anderson. Yeah, just a bit full of that one, up and outside the off stump. Not the first airy drive that Yasir Shah has played in his short innings. And I was kind of looking at him and thinking, well, Pakistan do have a bit of a predicament here. They're not going to sort of graft their way to a score. They need to perhaps try and change the momentum, but not an easy thing to do, to come in and play a few shots to Broad and Anderson in these conditions, with the ball still darting around, even though it's we've had 68 overs, something like that.
Yeah, 68.3.
And yet the ball is still moving prodigiously. So I can't blame Yasir for playing a few shots, but maybe he should have gone even harder at it. If it's a up and out there, give it a good swing of the bat and see what happens. But it brings Shaheen to the crease, a tall figure of Shaheen, the left armer, who is a left-handed batsman.
There was a degree of inevitability about that shot from Yasir Shah. He was just wafting outside the off stump. So Shaheen Shah Afridi out in the middle now. Tall frame. Stands in front of the stumps and now marking his guard, middle and leg, as Anderson has the ball in his hand, red mark down the back of his right trouser leg from all the shining that he's been doing on it. As we'll have 3 slips in position, Ringfielder on the offside, mid-on, square leg and a man down at fine leg, so fairly regulation as Anderson shuffles away. Here he comes, he bowls to Shaheen Shah Afridi down the leg side, doesn't get any bat on it as Jos Buttler dives away in manages to take the ball. A little grimace from James Anderson as he returns to the top of his mark. But this is perfect, isn't it? I mean, as a seam swing bowler, you're wanting to bowl all day long in this.
And I think in recent years, we've seen overhead conditions like this, very muggy, cloudy, and then you've got the floodlights on to boot. And it means that we're out there seeing cricket, but often in the past, we wouldn't have seen them out there. And so it has made modern day batting very tricky.
Anderson bowls. Shaheen Shah Afridi lunges forwards and pushes back to Anderson. No run. So he wanders over to square leg. Just rotates his body, loosens himself up, wearing a long-sleeved shirt, the left-handed batsman. He'll enjoy these conditions, especially if he gets the ball moving like he did up at Old Trafford with the new ball. Square leg just heads on out to the boundaries, about 15-20 metres off it as Anderson over the wicket bowls to Afridi, who's still in his crease and defends it aptly after the last ball of the over. 171 for 7 then. Shaheen Shah is in on 0, Rizwan on 19. A few more words from you, Mark, and then it will be Atif Nawaz.
Well, England know that if they, in these conditions, continue to bowl at the top of off stump, there'll be periods where nothing happens and there'll be periods where the game moves forward quickly. Just looking over at the scoreboard, Anderson bowled 23 overs and Broad 20 overs. That's 43 out of the 69 that have been bowled. I mean, England's most successful pair of seamers. It's hard to get the ball out of their hands when the conditions are in their favour. And rightly, the captain started with them after the break, and it's worked a treat.
Stuart Broad in and bowls full-length delivery. Just been pushed out, backward point for no run by Rizwan. Afternoon, Andy. Afternoon, Ramps. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Full of the joys after our very healthy lunch. Andy, what did you end up having?
Some, pasta, alleged pasta. And stats, of course. Stats are the only nutrition I need. Stuart Broad is 1 wicket away from an interesting little stat.
We'll find out in a moment as he comes in. Short delivery and attempted pull shot and an abandoned appeal straight away because he was miles away from that. Well taken down the leg side by Josh Buttler. Score remains 171 for 7. Andy, tell us the stat.
He's taken 3 or more wickets in his last 6 innings. A couple of drops in this innings to go with his 2 wickets. If he takes another wicket, one of the last 3 to fall, it will be 7 3-wicket innings in a row for him. The first England bowler to do that since Graham Swan. The first England seamer to do it since Darren Gough. And for England before, they have to go back to Ian Botham in the late 70s. And Alec Bedser and Morris Tate, SF Barnes, and that's the list of England bowlers who've taken 3+ in 7 consecutive innings.
Extraordinary. What a list to be a part of. In comes Stuart Broad once again, full of a length this time, just pushed into the onside, and they run through for a quick single. Rizwan happy to take that and trust Shaheen with 3 deliveries of Stuart Broad. Is this a case of conventional playing around your tail here for Rizwan? Ramps, do you think he just concentrates on what he's doing, or does he have to be mindful of the batsman at the other end?
Well, there's still 3 wickets left in Pakistan innings, but yes, you do wonder how long the lower order will hang around with him. So I guess he's thinking, probably mulling over what calculated risks he can take. England have employed a deep square leg to him, so they may give him the odd bouncer to think about, which he's tried to take on to his credit, gloving one to Josh Buttler that he couldn't quite hold on to. But where else do you go unless you're sort of running down the wicket, maybe trying to hit him over the offside? It's really quite tricky for Rizwan. I feel for him because batting with the tail against the quality bowling attack is very difficult.
It is indeed, as Stuart Broad comes in good length just outside the off stump, and Shaheen just pulls his bat inside the line of it, lets it go through on the bounce to the keeper. Not much carry that time, 82 miles an hour.
Just coming back to Stuart Broad, though, those stats are fascinating, and I think it's a great example of someone who's played a lot of international cricket and had a lot of success, and yet still wanting to seek improvement, pursue excellence in their craft and their game. And there was a lot of talk at one point
As Broad comes in and bowls, Fuller delivery has been pushed into the covers for no run.
There's a lot of talk about Stuart Broad and how, for a while, he bowled a lot round the wicket to left-handers, as he's doing at the moment, trying to swing the ball away to the left-handers from round the wicket. And he kind of lost his wrist. What I mean by that is that the wrist, it was pushing the ball in to the right-hander and across the left-handers. And he kind of lost the ability to stand the ball up, stand the sit, and make it go away from the right-handers. And he went away and worked very, very hard at that skill, which is something that he always had. And he rediscovered it.
In comes Broad now, wide of the crease this time, just angling into Shaheen, who's forward in defence there. No run.
And I think his success is that he was honest enough to sort of appraise his current situation and say, no, I can get better. So we've seen him operate to the right-handers, coming in slightly wider of the crease, and he's rediscovered that leg cutter, which he bowled a beauty to Babar Azam, to dismiss him for that. Often when people bowl wide of the crease, they push the ball in. If they don't get it to move, then it just floats on a middle leg and it's easy for the batter. But he's managed to get the ball moving away from the right-hander, keeping his wrist behind the ball. But then he can also go round the wicket and swing the ball away from the left-handers. So, he's a guy for all conditions, and left hand or right hand.
He most certainly is. Jimmy Anderson in now. Short delivery has been pulled nicely into the deep, and there is a fielder. They'll come round. They'll take just the single. Pakistan move on to 173 for 7. As you say, Mark, it was a decent first mini session from Pakistan, that rain-affected session. They managed to just about hang in there, but England always seemed on the verge of getting that wicket. They had the ball in the right areas, the conditions were in their favour, and that kind of perseverance paid off very early in that second session. That beautiful delivery, as you say, to Babar Azam, the batsman who was set. How do you take that in your stride as a batsman when you get a delivery like that, especially if you get a few of them in sequences, as Azhar Ali has, for example? I'll get your thoughts on that after I tell you that Anderson's come in just back of a length, left alone by Shaheen, through to the keeper for no run.
Well, I remember watching Michael Vaughan bat against the West Indies at Lords, and the ball was darting around all over the place, and he played and missed a few times, but he was brilliant in the way that he didn't let that bother him, and he sort of had a little bit of a smile about it, didn't get a bat on it. The ball was seaming off Ambrose, and I think it's a great skill, actually, for top order players to not get flustered, and when they get beaten like that, to kind of let it go and just look forward to the next delivery.
Yeah, but what about when it happens in sequence, though? So getting one good ball, you can be like, I got a good ball, but what if you get a few in sequences? Anderson comes in full of delivery, and Shaheen chasing that one. It's miles away from him, no foot movement, through to the keeper, lucky to miss it. 173 for 7. So that's what I mean. Like, you could get a couple of good balls in a row, and you go for a slow score. You think, okay, I got unlucky. The ball was moving around. Conditions weren't in my favour. When you have like 6 or 7 of them in a row, it must start to play on your mind.
Dismissals or good deliveries?
Good deliveries that dismiss you.
Aha, okay, yes. Well, gosh, I mean, there's so many ways to get out, aren't there? So, I think it's unusual to get 6 or 7 good deliveries to get out. Normally you're caught cover or bad decision or somewhere along the line.
In comes Anderson now, back of a length this time, just teasing the outside edge of Shaheen, who deliberately keeps his bat inside the line. And 73 for 7.
But this is batting, I mean, the Pakistani players are finding out this is, largely, this is what batting in England is like. And certainly in county cricket, there's plenty in the pitches. You often find 4 medium pacers, running in, bowling a lot of the overs. And so you've really got to... It's not easy, even if you get to 50, to convert. Sometimes you never feel quite in.
Here comes Anderson now to Shaheen, and again, just a decent length outside the off stump. Passes him by through to the keeper. Yes, it would be a batsman in these conditions, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's... And there, what can you control? Your attitude and your intent. You got to take one ball at a time. I think it's really important. Sometimes when the ball's moving around a lot, you've got to be even sharper, even more aggressive in deciding what to attack and what to defend. And so, that's what I've seen the best players do, I think.
Anderson in once again, back of the length this time, and Shaheen just pushing the ball defensively into the leg side. That completes the 71st over of this Pakistan innings, 173 for 7, going along at 2.44 runs and over. That won't bother anybody, really. Plenty of cricket to come here at the Ageas Bowl. Still slightly overcast and a bit muggy outside as well, I would say, but the floodlights are on, and and it seems quite dry, so hopefully we'll get some uninterrupted play for the most of the day, hopefully. Yes, it is. It's been a good session for England. They've managed to get two big wickets, really. Yasir Shah, although you think of him as a tail ender, does have a Test century to his name, and obviously can be quite damaging with those with that counter-attacking cricket. And Babar Azam, as we know, is a world-class batsman. It's interesting the level of critique that some of these batsmen got following the first day's play. A lot of it was focused around, how in Pakistan people were very unforgiving. They were talking about runs of bad form, in particular for Azhar Ali and Asad Shafiq, and there's higher expectations on them, and it's never really taken into account very much whether or not they got a good ball or conditions were difficult. I mean, how much does that contribute to the overall analysis of a player? I'll give you an example of a player that I thought of in a second that matched that for me. Is Sam Curran is back into the attack, and he starts with one down the leg side, taken by Butler behind the stumps. I remember a player who originally played for Scotland and then made his debut for England called Gavin Hamilton. And I think he got a pair in his only test match. He played one test match, got a pair. Both deliveries were really good. Excellent balls, moving away from him, got an outside edge, got out. Happens, right? But he never got another look in. At what point do you decide this player was unlucky because of the conditions and hence should be given a second chance, or we're done with this player? As Curran in full delivery flicked away into the leg side by Rizwan, and he'll take a single, happy to expose Shaheen to Curran. 174 for 7. What do you think, Rams?
Well, I'd say that I think in recent years England have established a little bit more consistency in selection, happily, and I think the players have responded to that, and people coming into the environment by and large know that they're going to get a run of games, and I think that's really helped players kind of come in, settle into the England team and really feel part of it and wanting to contribute. So that's something. In Gavin's particular circumstance, I don't quite know. I mean, they used to change the team quite a lot back in those days.
In comes Curran once again, back of the length, just shaping away from Shaheen, left alone through to the keeper, no run.
In terms of, I think the fans have got to remember it's an easy game on the television. If you see the game live and you see how quick the guys are bowling and that the ball is moving, it's a very, very difficult challenge to play in English conditions. And you have to look at Babar Azam. He's Pakistan's best player. And he's got a terrific delivery, even though he was seeing the ball very well and had made a good score.
In comes Curran once again, just full of a length this time, swinging away from Shaheen. He just pushed at it, Shaheen, with his feet going absolutely nowhere. Lucky not to miss out. 13 balls for his 0 not out so far, Shaheen, living dangerously.
In terms of the Pakistan team, the coaching staff, the environment, they've got to really protect confidence. It's such a fragile thing, batting in English conditions up against a good attack. So yeah, if someone's got a good ball, they've got to try and keep people's spirits up. If they've got out to a bad shot, they've got to say, okay, look, it happens. Next time, just be really more clinical and certain in how you want to play.
Here comes Curran now once again. Bowls just this time a little bit straighter, and Shaheen all the way behind that in defence. Much more convincing that time. 174 for 7.
I think we were saying yesterday, weren't we? I mean, in the case of Alam, just recalled, faced 4 balls, he'll be desperately disappointed. But they've got to keep his spirits up, to keep his mindset positive for the second innings, and then of course they'll have to see whether he's in contention to play the third game.
Yeah, it'd be quite something if they were to drop him after that. As in he comes, Curran just short of a length once more, just swinging away from Shaheen again. He never really had any idea about any of those deliveries in that over, Shaheen, to be honest with you. 174 for 7 as Rizwan gives him a nice fist bump just to keep his spirits up, I imagine. Yeah, it's a tricky thing. Pakistan's selection has never really been particularly consistent, and when Misbah began his tenure as chief of selectors and head coach, he made a few a few calls that raised a few eyebrows. He brought back Umar Akmal, Ahmed Shahzad, certain players that have been out of contention for quite some time, and he gave them very kind of short runs that didn't really seem to indicate a lot of confidence in their play or wanting to give them a sustained run. In fact, I think in his first 10 games he used a pool of something like 40 players for the first limited overs games that Misbah. I wonder if you're able to find that out, Andy. It's a very difficult request, but how many players Misbah has played since he's taken over in his tenure as chief selector? Because he did have a huge pool to play with, and I don't know, it's something that a lot of people feel that Pakistan should do, and have a little bit more faith in these players and give them that confidence of saying, look, don't worry about your performances too much. You don't need to worry about playing the next game. You're playing the next game. You just focus on what you're doing. 2-3 games, you relax. Let's have a look at you. And I'm not certain Fawad is feeling that way at the moment. We'll hear from Andy just after this first delivery from Chris Woakes, who's at the top of his run. Oh, he's just abandoned it.
Oh, but before I undertake your commissioners quickly, Broad, Spell either side of lunch, 1 for 11 from 8, Anderson 1 for 8 from 5 since lunch.
Outstanding. 3 slips in place, and Chris Woakes comes in and just strikes Rizwan just about the belly button region. He's giving it a good rub as well. Players didn't used to do that. They used to just completely no-sell it. I can't tell you if I'm in pain. This is the macho thing. Whereas nowadays players are much more comfortable giving it a good rub and saying, that was painful. Why did you do that? Why did you bowl so short to me?
Well, I'm just amazed that 72 overs gone and Chris Woakes comes on, bowls a loosener, and it's nipped back sharply and bounced. Very awkward delivery to play for Rizwan.
Yeah, Rizwan on strike. He's got 22 from 58 as Chris Woakes comes in and bowls full of delivery that's been driven into the covers for no run. 174 for 7. There's a great interview with Saeed Ajmal, the Pakistani off-spinner, where he complains vociferously about James Anderson bowling short to him. He's like, I can't believe he did that. Like, he bowled so short to me. Why would he do this to me? Like, I thought we were friends. Which I thought was quite sweet, really.
Well, I think the phrase is probably charming but naive.
Chris Woakes at the top of his run. He's got a deep. He's got some cover in the deep as well. As he bowls, short ball has been pulled nicely by Rizwan. There is a man at backward square leg. They take one. They think about the second, and they think better of it. Shaheen turning around swiftly there. Excellent fielding in the deep there.
You can see from Rizwan there. He's recognised the urgency for Pakistan to try and develop some momentum. And for him to get back on strike there, it was a good pull shot because the ball bounced high, but he managed to control it. But he raced up the wicket looking for 2, and he's desperate to retain as much strike as possible.
175 for 7. The tricky thing for Rizwan is he keeps ending up off strike after he takes those singles, and then that momentum just falls away with Shaheen just blocking or often missing outside the off stump. Woakes in again, 3 slips in place. They wait as full delivery to Shaheen, just shaping nicely away from him. Shaheen inside the line of that and missing it altogether. And he practiced the same shot. Don't know what that was about. 175 for 7.
What would have been interesting from Misbah is to find out from his point of view why he selected those players and then why he got rid of them so quickly. Was it because he felt they didn't have the skill or the attitude that he's been looking for?
I think it was a case of also just kind of taking stock of your resources. I think that was the official explanation initially anyway. As Woakes in once again, full delivery, attempted drive from Shaheen. He went for that properly but missed it by a good 6 inches, I would say. Lucky for him, it would have gone straight to the slips. A lot of encouragement, a lot of noise out there from the England players. They know they're very much on top. 3 wickets away from wrapping this tail up. Pakistan want to inch their way past that 200 milestone. Do these mean anything to players, Mark? Like, I mean, from a fan perspective, when we watch and we have these arbitrary numbers, like if they get past 200, they get past 250. Like, does it mean anything from a player's perspective, really?
I don't think he's particularly aware of that at the moment.
Woakes in, just back of a length again. Another attempted flashing shot from Shaheen. He wanted to push that through the covers. He missed it altogether once more. He's had a charmed life over the 18 deliveries that he survived, but yet to score 175 for 7. Shaheen on 0 of 18 and Rizwan on 23 not out of 60 deliveries. A lot of energy out there in the middle right now from the England players. Caught a glimpse of some of the Pakistanis practicing ahead of the T20s as well. There's a second ground here at the Ageas Bowl, and the Pakistanis are playing an inter-squad match right now, preparing for that. An exciting series a little bit later on this month. quite evenly matched, these teams, in all formats, really, in Test cricket, T20s and ODIs. It was a very exciting contest, and of course, with the Australians to come a little bit later as well. As we heard today, in comes Curran now, back of a length, and Rizwan pushes into the offside defensively for no run. It's a very tidy player, Rizwan. Quite compact and never gets too carried away. Strikes me as a player who knows his limitations.
And I think where he's batting, you know, you need a good head on your shoulders, don't you? Because often you find yourself in this situation where, you know, you've got a few tail-enders hanging around and you've got to try and manufacture something for the good of the team.
Absolutely. Short ball this time and just worked into a backward square, and he turns down the single. That's interesting. So Shaheen has been left at that non-striker's end, and Rizwan's decided that he's going to try and farm some of this strike.
And so I'm trying to think about what his options are here, and it may be that he decides that he'll play 4 balls and wait for the last 2 and try and hit a couple of boundaries. As I say, because at the moment they're just picking up 1 and over and not really going anywhere.
Curran in now once again, full of delivery, attempted drive from Rizwan, but beaten outside the off stump. Ball just swinging in and then leaving him off the surface.
Yeah, it's a tough delivery to play, that one, actually. The swinging nip-awayer.
It's doing 2 different things in the same ball, just coming in with that natural angle and then leaving him off the surface. Gosh, really difficult conditions to bat in right now, and Pakistan will have to work really hard to get past that 200 mark, give themselves something to bowl at. Sam Curran. In he comes, a short delivery, attempted to put a lot into that. Was pitched about a third of the way down the pitch, that one, as it tailed off towards the leg side. An excellent take in the end by Jos Buttler. Batsman had a wild swing at it as well. He missed it completely. It's miles away from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's come up as about 79 miles an hour there, but it looks a little bit quicker than that. I think because Sam Curran's got a quick arm, and often batters will look at that and think, oh yeah, no, I should be taking that on. But the direction of it's important. He gets it in at the body.
Curran in now once again, just a little bit fuller that time, and cut away nicely by Rizwan to the fielder. Sweeping in the covers. I'll take a single with 1 delivery to go. So Shaheen's going to be exposed to 1 ball of Sam Curran. Interesting strategy this from Rizwan to try and farm as much of the strike as possible. Turned down a single on the leg side earlier this over. Shaheen doesn't look particularly bothered, really, does he? He looks very relaxed for his 0 of 18. Final delivery of the 74th over. 3 slips in place. In comes Sam Curran. He bowls a fuller delivery, takes the outside edge, and it's been caught by Joe Root at first slip. And we're going to check it. It was a bit of a muted celebration, but it looks like it's carried. We're going to just check it, but it looks like it's carried. Shaheen had a big drive at that. It took a thick outside edge and went very low to Joe Root, and he didn't celebrate it immediately, which is to caught everybody off guard a little bit. Yeah, we're going to have another look at it. The umpires want to have another look at it with a soft signal of out. 176 for potentially 8.
Umpire review for a fair catch. The soft signal is out. It's a fair delivery. So can we have a look at your best angle for the catch, please?
I've got a zoom version.
Okay, if we can have a look at the zoom version. Have we got anything else there, Mark?
I've got one a bit sharper at standby C.
I can see the fingers under the ball.
What do you think, Mark?
Well, on first look, I thought, oh, that's pretty obvious. But now I'm looking again. It's almost as though
Just
the
roll
ball
that through.
burst through the hands, and just Joe
And
Root
can we
may have just got
go
his
to
left
that,
hand underneath.
just as the ball's hitting the back hand, the left hand. Okay, I've just roll it back through.
Standby B.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Roll B through to B.
Yeah, we're having a few different looks at this at the moment, and that's a better
Okay,
angle.
roll that through, please. Okay, you can see the ball on the ground there. So we're going to go back onto the big screen. And my decision is not out.
There you have it. Not out. Very close call, and quite sporting actually of Joe Root, the way he kind of muted the celebration just to suggest that he wasn't quite sure, and encouraged the umpires to have another look, and that decision's been overturned. So Shaheen survives. He continues his innings. That was the end of the 74th over. After a few thoughts on that from Mark Ramprakash, you're going to be joined by Ebony Rainford Brent and Simon Mann.
Well, it was a good delivery by Sam Curran. Good to see him pitching the ball up a little bit further at Shaheen, drawing him into the shot. And it'll be interesting to see, or to listen to Joe Root and what he thinks about this chance, whether he felt it really carried to him. On first look, I thought it was just an obvious caught first slip, nothing really to talk about. But it's as though the ball burst through his hands and then ended up in the fingers of his left hand, but also on the ground. And importantly, Richard Edgeworth looking at that closely and then making a strong decision going against the soft signal.
Here's Wokes with a new over. Goes into bowl to Rizwan, who's up on his toes, forcing that away, backward a square on the offside, towards deep backward point, only a single. And then have a fielder down there. It was a strange one, you don't see those very often. In fact, I can't remember seeing one like that before. Normally it's a question of whether it banks just in front of the fingers, but they showed it from behind. And I mean, the problem is it's always that television foreshortening that it makes it look as though it's on the ground even when it might not be. And when you look at the one from behind, you sort of feel, well, can you really give that out? Although the soft signal was out. Here is Wokes. Bowling to Rizwan. He struck on the pad. Shout for LBW. Big shout from behind, not so much from Wokes. It was going down. And that was a more straightforward decision for umpire Gough. It's 176 for 7. Rizwan's on 24. Shaheen Afridi leaning on his back after that reprieve at the non-striker's end. 0 from 19 balls. But he's trying to support Rizwan here, get Pakistan as many as they possibly can. You know, we haven't run through Pakistan today. They've resisted, but they haven't gone a great distance. Here is Wokes. Bowls to Rizwan outside the off stump. Rizwan pulls the bat away and allows it to go through to Butler. So England have 3 men out for Rizwan. Deep backward point, deep forward square leg and fine leg. 2 saving, 1 on the offside, 3 slips. And there's a mid-on as well. The danger in a situation like this is you just try to get one batsman out. England aren't falling into that trap at the moment, but they have a bit of protection. Here is Wokes. Bowling to Rizwan, it's full, it's driven crisply, nicely, but straight to Broad at mid-on. And there's no run. Rizwan has shaped very well so far in this Test series. And he's looked solid. Good ball to get rid of Babar Azam after lunch. And then Yasir Shah driving at Anderson and caught behind for 5. So Anderson's up to 5.93 now. And the other issue England have got here is they've used seam so far throughout the innings, and the new ball is only 5 overs away. I presume they'll have to go with it. Here is Wokes going into bowl to Yasir, to Rizwan. He struck high on the pad. They're off for a quick single. There's nearly a run out of non-striker's end. Perhaps there is. I think there is a run out of the non-striker's end. It just clipped the bail off, and Shaheen Afridi was trying to make his ground, and he has been run out, second run out of the series. Not looking for not going through for a quick single, but they were looking for something there. It was a really strange one. It went off the pad into the offside. They thought about the single. England were appealing for the LBW. Sibley picked it up, hurled it at the non-striker's end. Shaheen Afridi was diving to make his ground, and it clipped the bails off, and he was out. If it missed the stumps, it would have been 4 overthrows. I think the ball actually did go to the boundary, but there we go. A reprieve for Shaheen Afridi in the previous over. Well, I don't think he faced another ball, did he? Run out for naught at the non-striker's end, and it's 176 for 8.
Yeah, a bit keen there from Shaheen, really. You could see, obviously, with the pressure of the moment, he was desperate to get a single. The one thing that Rizwan was trapped on the crease because of the nature of the ball sort of striking him high, the LBW shout. He was rooted to the crease. It hadn't made hard yards and then sent him back. But well done to Sibley, actually. He had a good look from his sort of position, sort of backward point, gully region. He was able to see the stumps full on, and so had a good shy down at the stumps. Well, England will take the breakthrough anyhow right now.
Yep, second run out of the series for Sibley. Did the one at Old Trafford as well, affected the one at Old Trafford. Drinks are on the field, the ground staff are out there, tidying up the creases on this really sort of dank, close day here down on the south coast.
The only thing I keep thinking, I mean, there was a lot of movement there, even from Wokes in that last over. If you're Pakistan with potentially 10 miles an hour more up your sleeve, and you're seeing this movement, fair enough, it's not a big score on the board, but I think they'll still feel there's a lot happening in these conditions right now, a lot for the ball and the bowlers.
Yep. There's definitely something there for the bowling side. Consistent movement. And these conditions, I mean, it looks a bit like November out there.
It feels more like January, if I'm honest.
Except the leaves are on the trees, that's the only thing in the distance. But the sky, and it's that sort of winter gloom almost, with the lights beaming down as well. But at least we have some cricket, which is the great news. We might have some light problems later, unless there is something to clear this cloud away that's been settled over the GS Bowl all day. I talk about that new ball. England might not need it now. 5.1 overs to the new ball, 2 wickets to go. Mohammad Abbas coming in at number 10, who in the last test match was out first ball in the first innings and not out 3 in the second. He was watching at the other end while Yasir Shah was flogging it around on that what turned to be the final day at Old Trafford. So a bit of delay waiting for the drinks to go off the field.
A stat, a fact that was asked for just a while ago about the number of Pakistan players selected since Misbah became coach. This is their 7th test since he became coach last September. 18 players in those 7 tests, 13 in 2 ODIs, but 25 players in just 8 T20 internationals. So there has been, particularly in the shortest format, a considerable churn.
If you want to see that run out, it will be available very soon on the BBC Sport website and app. Highlights throughout the day, and full highlights today at the test. BBC 4 tonight from 7 o'clock. It's on BBC 2 at 11:20, followed by a repeat of the Edge programme about England's rise and fall to number 1 in the world a few years back. You can also see the highlights at your leisure on the iPlayer. So lots of options to see the highlights later on today. BBC 4 at 7 o'clock. There's a delay for some reason, not quite sure why. Everyone just standing around as if we haven't had enough delay already so far today. Is it Rizwan's gone off the field during the drinks break? I think it is, yeah.
Maybe a toilet break or something needed.
Yeah. The throw from Sibley, just seeing the replay, it was at the finest of margins. It flicked a right-hander's off stump if he were batting at this end of the ground. But enough to take the bails off.
He had a really good angle, didn't he? Just from where he was, a nice bounce, and saw enough of the stumps in front.
Rizwan's back on the field. 176 for 8. He actually came back to acknowledging. It's actually a bit embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, you're holding up international sport here.
The whole world is watching.
Yeah. That's the umpire's job, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a lot of gear to get off, though. You think about it. Pads, inner thigh pad, box, the works.
Yeah. Anyway, he's ready. Well, I hope he's ready. He's about to take strike again. 3 slips are in, and the field is up because that's the 5th ball of the over. England trying to squeeze it here, keep him on strike. So Mohammad Abbas faces the first ball the next over. Wokes goes in and bowls. Rizwan swings it away. That's a fine shot coming to meet the bowler. Out towards the deep square leg boundary, and it's gone away for 4. Rizwan's decided here with not much to play with. He's going to take it on. That was a great stroke. 180 for 8. He's got Mohammad Abbas and Naseem Shah to help him over the line here, up towards 200 possibly. Premeditated. He was walking down the pitch and he just flogged it away.
Yeah, well, maybe a bit of relief during the drinks break and can free himself up now. But that was a beautiful shot, actually. Just helps it on its way. Attacking, went down the line of the ball, which is key.
Yeah, it's a bit of an uncomfortable position to be in, actually, isn't it? If you do need a...
I've been there. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, toilet break, and you can't. You have to wait to the drinks break, don't you? At least.
Yeah.
Can't just say, I'm sorry, I've got to go off.
You're dancing around the crease and you're like, come on, come on.
Anyway, first, enough said about that.
Sorry.
That was Rizwan's first 4 from his 71st ball.
He's up to 28. Right, here's Curran now bowling to Mohamed Abbas. Curran goes in and bowls, and Abbas clips that into the onside. Oh, a bit of hesitation, could be another run out. The throw comes in, the Butler whips off the bails, Abbas is back. Well, you can see what he was trying there, because he wants clearly to get Rizwan on strike, but Rizwan wasn't interested. And they are probably going to review it just to check. I mean, there's no real interest from England out there. It's Broad with the throw, direct hit, and it would have been out, but it was above the bails, and Butler got the bails off, but he was home by what? I don't know, 6 centimetres, 8 centimetres, something like that.
Yeah, comfortably home. You can see what he was trying to do, wasn't he? He was just trying to just sneak it around the corner, get that single.
It's quite intelligent cricket, really. I mean, but whether Rizwan could have got home, I don't know. Mohamed Abbas had to run up and then run back again. It wasn't the best of throws from Broad. It's rather looped in over the stumps. Bombed the bails, they're not on correctly. They are now, according to umpire Goff, who trots out towards square leg. It's 180 for 8. And it's Curran to bowl to Mohamed Abbas. 3 slips are in. Curran moves in and bowls. And Abbas is right in behind that, playing that nicely. Plays it back to the bowler. This is actually where you want probably someone like Jofra Archer to
just come in and charge in.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, actually, it's most probably quite nice in terms of pace against Curran. Especially with the angle he's looking at, you'd almost just want to get in line and just try and nudge one off your hips, get that strike rotated. I wonder what Rizwan's just said to him, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's something on those lines.
Yeah, changing the field here, England. They sense that Abbas is looking to pinch a single into the onside with the angle. Curran perhaps just bowling straight on the pad, so they put a mid-wicket in, short mid-wicket, taken in from cover, and Anderson's come in from mid-off, just like extra cover, sort of halfway house between cover and mid-off. This is Curran going in to bowl to Abbas, who nudges it into the leg side, a forward square leg, straight to Ollie Pope, and there is no run.
Yes.
What Pakistan need here, of course, is they just need Abbas and Naseem Shah to support Rizwan, a bit of party time. You know, England take the new ball, perhaps bring the field up, you know, harder new
Add
ball.
a 20-30.
Yeah, just smack a few around. A bit like Stuart Broad has been able to do at times this summer.
And that 30 from Yasir Shah in that last
Exactly
innings.
like that, yeah. Curran looking to snuff that out, goes in and bowls outside the off stump. Well, that was a swinger, but it went only after it'd gone past the stumps. It was across him and then swung back sharply.
I like the field change that they just made for 2 reasons. 1, blocking off the leg side, stops the little nudge, but 2, it opens up his thought process for throwing the hands at the wider one across off stump, which brings the slips into play. So yeah, Abbas is going to have a little bit of work to do just to try and get off strike here.
Curran moves in and bowls to Mohamed Abbas, who plays quietly forward with an angled bat, goes away to backward point where it's picked up by Bess, sliding on his knees to stop it, preventing the single. And in a way, England wouldn't be that unhappy if Mohamed Abbas took a single there. I wonder what they do with Rizwan. Are they going to put everyone out? Have one of those cat and mouse games? It's so, actually, it's you think in a situation like this you should be good enough to confident getting anyone out in these conditions. Sometimes you set the field back, there's a danger. Here's Curran bowling. Oh, it's very full. LBW shout, must be close, surely. Not out, says umpire Kettleborough. Unless he got some bat on it. It's the only thing I can think. What are England doing here? How many reviews have they got left?
We've got 3.
No, well, they're not going to go for it. They must have sensed that there was some bat in that, or perhaps it was swinging down the leg side. Looked a good delivery.
Oh,
Have they gone for it?
has he just done a late minute?
They have. They have gone for it. I think Root seeing, well, 2 wickets left. 3 reviews left. Might be worth just having a look. It was a very confident shout. It did seem to swing in, but whether it did too much. Let's have a look at the replay. Oh, we got inside edge on it. Yeah, big inside edge. That's what saved him.
Yeah, good delivery from Sam Curran. Full, the right sort of delivery. You want?
It's the last ball of the over. It's 180 for 8. Rizwan is on strike now on 28. Time for Jonathan. No, I'll do one more over. Okay, so Wokes to bowl. So England lose a review.
Yeah, it was the right sort of delivery, isn't it, to Abbas, who, again, just get it full, the ball's tailing, just got out of jail. But the most important thing now is Rizwan is on strike, potentially for 6 balls for Pakistan.
Right, we are into that situation where they're basically not trying to get him out now, they're just trying to get him off strike. So they put the field back, 2 slips in. Well, this can be fraught with danger, this sort of tactic. Here is Wokes going into bowl, and Rizwan knocks it into the leg side. And there is no run. England have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men back. Anderson's quite deep at mid-off as well, covers quite deep, basically saying to Rizwan, you can have a single wherever you like. I suppose the other thing as well, they say to Rizwan, you can try and hit it over the top straight. I haven't seen many down the ground in the whole test match, really. So we're in this sort of phony war situation, really, where we almost wait for the end of the over, unless Rizwan does try to take it on. But the game here really is just play for the end of the over. Rizwan is beaten by that one from Wokes. So that's the other side of the coin, is that there is enough out there to genuinely dismiss a player with a delivery like that. But it's strange psychology of the game when you stop trying to get the player out, how much easier it becomes to bat out there. The pressure's released a bit, and you can see what England are trying to do, just limit the boundaries, potential boundaries from Rizwan. It's a tactic England used against Steve Smith at Edgbaston last year, and it totally failed. It allowed Australia to regain the initiative in the match. That first day, the first test, Wokes bowls a slow, so it looked like a really tempting full toss there. But it was a dipper, slower ball. It dipped on him, and in the end it was a quite clever slow Yorker. Rizwan dug it out. A bit of the old white ball skills coming into play there.
Yeah, 69 miles an hour, that one. He just got to roll his wrist, bit of an offer-cutter in the end, taking a lot of pace out. Yeah, good adjustment, especially when you know a batter's coming at you, taking the pace off.
180 for 8. Does he take a single this ball, the 4th ball of the over? Wokes goes in and bowls to Rizwan. It's short, he swings it away towards deep back of square leg. Sliding save in the deep. A bit of relay fielding. Curran sends in the return eventually, and they come back for 2 runs.
Yeah, well, I thought he might have just taken that one there and got up the other end and just offered the one delivery. Well, he's got to make sure he gets off strike here.
Well, no, they're not bringing the field
they're
up.
not bringing the field in. Still 2 left in the over.
Don't understand this. I'm surprised they're not bringing the field up now, or is it that everyone's not on the same wavelength? Well, some have come up. Mid-on and mid-off have come up, but deep mid-wicket's still out, and deep back with square leg is still out. Wokes goes in and bowls short outside the off stump, swatted away. Easy single through mid-wicket for Mohammad Rizwan. So Mohammad Abbas has 1 ball to face in the over. It's 183 for 8. This is the 77th over, so the new ball is 3 overs away. Rizwan to 31 with that single. And as long as Mohammad Abbas survives this final ball, it's worked perfectly well for Pakistan this over. It's quite accumulation. Get Rizwan on strike for the next over. Field comes up, of course, but more pressure on Abbas, actually trying to get him out. Wokes goes in and bowls, and Abbas knocks that to forward square leg. It's the end of the over, so he survives his 1 ball. It's 183 for 8. Rizwan 31. Abbas yet to score. More from Ebony, and then Jonathan.
Yeah, vital runs here at the moment for Pakistan. They'll be desperate where they can, especially with the likes of the new ball coming in 3 overs, to just see if they can add maybe another 10-15 before that comes and the challenge creeps up another level. So the key for them is that Rizwan is on strike. I would assume we might see the attempt of 1 or 2 boundaries. Just having a look at the conversation at the other end. Aggers, is it going to be still Curran to continue?
Looks like it. New ball just round the corner. England's have to keep calm heads, do the basics right. We've seen lots of times when you've got an established batsman, albeit number 7, but with the tail, and I mean the real tail, England just losing the plot a bit. He's got to bowl normally, really, and if he wants to play a few shots, fine, he can make some adjustments, but too much focus on who's facing or who might face. Just the conditions are so good, it's bold to get them out. 183 for 8, and that's nudged away to mid-wicket as Curran continues from the far end. Suddenly the established batsman becomes immortal because they're so desperate to bowl at the number 10 and 11, and you just forget that actually knock him over just as you can knock over anybody else. Played very well, but still vulnerable in these conditions. Very oppressive, it's quite muggy, very low cloud. And I was saying earlier, I fear for later today as far as the light's concerned. Curran left arm over, bowls outside the off stump, short and wide, cut away down to third man. That's 4 runs. Poor delivery, but Rizwan's put it away to move to 35, and Pakistan to 187 for 8. All good runs these. You feel they're still some way behind par, maybe 240, 250. On this pitch you consider to be par. It's always difficult before you've seen both teams bat on it, but England just have to be careful. Let's just maintain the discipline. It's doing plenty in the air off the pitch. Curran again. Bustly run, comes in, bowls very full, driven and mistimed by Rizwan, who looks to the heavens. You won't see very high up there, but there's cloud, but he looks that way.
He missed out there. Full, plenty of opportunity on that offside. He knows it.
Tried to hit too hard, I think. He's got an aggressive frame of mind now. Shambolic run out. They've sparked him up a bit as well, but a second direct hit for Don Sibley in 2 matches. 187 for 8. Curran bustles up, bowls, and it's beautifully played. A short ball again, but he's done a little ramp shot, little uppercut, overslip. No one down at third man, and Joe Root's getting cross. He's just waving there to Stuart Broad, saying, come on, loosen up, let's stop messing around. New ball's about ready. But it's 2 balls. The previous boundary was a poor ball. That was deftly played, very skillful.
Yeah, the touch on that. Also, he had to actually get underneath it. Sam Curran's not the tallest, as we know. He didn't get a huge amount of bounce. He just got underneath, really watched it onto the bat. And a bit of control over the top. Beautiful shot.
It's amazing how to play that shot. It really is. That's something that's come relatively recently into the game. Couldn't have seen Geoffrey Boycott playing that. Just watching it onto the bat, and the angle of it and everything, it's beautifully placed. 191 for 8. It's 2 balls to go in the over, so now they're on quick single alert. As Curran comes in, bowls to him. He's got it as well. Straight on his pads, nudged away for a single to fine legs. Not really good over this. Broad's got his hands on his hips at mid-on.
Well, Bass, 1 ball here. This could be a perfect over for Pakistan. Couple of boundaries, not the single.
Yeah, that's right in the slot though, wasn't it? Just a nudge away. So, can Curran knock him over? That's the question.
It's coming round.
Man coming to short mid-wicket. It's 3 slips. Jones put a man out there for the hook shot. He must know something about Muhammad Abbas that perhaps Abbas himself doesn't know. He's a good hooker. He looks a bit surprised to see a man set for the hook, but there is one. Maybe it's for Lauer single, but I don't think they'll take it even if it goes out that way. Here's the last ball of the over. Can Curran take the 9th wicket? Up he comes, bowls, and it's down the leg side. Wasted ball, and collected by the keeper Butler. So I think we saw the waving there from Joe Root to Stuart Broad, although it might be 1 over early. I think Curran just lost a little bit of focus there. It can happen. You're so desperate to get the number 10 or 11 out. Just lose your discipline and bowling at the fellow he's number 7. I mean, he's not Don Bradman.
Rizwan scored 16 from his last 11 balls, having made 24 from his first 70.
Well, he's played really well. He's a good cricketer, isn't he? Chirpy.
Yeah.
Good character about him.
His first innings of the series, he was jumping all over the gaff, wasn't he? But you saw him settle, and now he's just starting to adjust to the conditions. He's doing well.
See Sibley and Burns both actually at the same time there were shadow batting. It's pretending they were playing a defensive shot. I was thinking about the light and just visualising the ball coming down. Half a mind on batting, which will not be easy in this light and against that Pakistan attack. And I think the man at the non-striker's end will be very awkward. Woakes on his way, moves up, bowls to Rizwan, very wide of the off stump. He keeps a bit low that, and moves away from Buttler as he dives to collect it in front of Joe Root.
There's a couple of games on, aren't there? You know the new ball's only 11 balls away. You're thinking, right, cash in.
That was a helicopter shot. We've seen the replay, but they did the full MS Dhoni circuit. Didn't make contact with it quite as Dhoni used to do. 192 for 8. Woakes over the wicket, bowls, and Rizwan drives this time, really launching into that. It's a lovely shot. He's actually put everything into it, and the ball's just going to go for 4. I expected that to go streaking across the outfield. Maybe slightly mistimed it because he put a massive amount of effort into it, but it's 4 runs. As Woakes now pays the price for over pitching and that little bit of width.
Yeah, he's playing perfectly here. Had to hit that slightly on the up as well. Controlled it through the shot and also got it to the right hand of the cover fielder. Really well played, actually. He's making the most of these last few overs before the new ball.
Certainly is. And he could be dangerous with the new ball if he could keep playing shots. 2 slips now. Woakes on his way, bowls, and Rizwan this time defends solidly a ball that's homing in on his middle stump. Plays that back to the bowler, so that's 3 balls gone. Can they keep Rizwan down at this end? Broad will be hoping so. He's quite deep at mid-on at the moment. They could scamper a single to him. But normally you'd expect Broad perhaps to come on the next over at the far end, not this one coming, but Root thought it was time for a change. 196 for 8. 3 balls in the over. Woakes bowls, a nice ball that moves away. Now, will they get just the one here? Rizwan's got his eye on 2. Abbas hasn't. And there's a good throw that comes rifling in from Pope. So there's 2 balls now for Woakes to bowl at Mohammad Abbas. Let's get them on target. Fielders all coming in. Broad's going through his bowling action at mid-on. Crowding round him now.
He's doing a good old limber up there,
He
Broad.
really is. He's going through the full works. Stretching those hamstrings. So here's Abbas then. He's got a big baggy sweater on. And Woakes kicking up his heels, moves in now, bowls to him. Nice delivery, but well played too. Covering up and playing very straight. I don't think he's no mug, I think, Abbas. He relegated himself in the first Test match. He got a first baller and he was at number 9 then, and he lowered himself in the order for the next innings, appeared at number 10. But he's nearly always got a smile on his face as well. He's got a chest pad on there. He's putting it into the right position. Here's the last ball. Woakes on his way, bowls to Abbas, who plays that very well. Number 10 getting behind it, playing out to mid-wicket. There's some applause from the Pakistani balcony, as it means that Rizwan will be on strike. And Broad is now going through that familiar side skipping, loosening up routine that he always does as he takes the crease to come on and bowl from the far end. It won't be with the new ball. There's still an over to go yet.
Well, this is the big opportunity here for Rizwan. 1 over of the old ball, but you have got Stuart Broad who's going to be charging in. I think this could be a bit fun here. I think we're going to see something happen. One way or the other it's going to give.
Yeah, I think he could be dangerous for the new ball as well, because he's going to keep playing shots. It only takes a couple of boundaries in the field suddenly. Oh, what are we going to do? Where are we going to put people? It's funny, even the most disciplined of teams, and as we were hearing earlier with Andy's figures, so the most disciplined attack, isn't it, in terms of line and length for since about 1963 or something. So, but even so, you can lose the plot when you get someone coming in, number 10 or 11, and there's an established batsman who suddenly starts playing a few shots. Focus just gets a bit blurred, and actually all you've got to do is keep more or less bowling in the same place, especially in conditions like this. So as usual, Broad undoes his trousers and then redoes the drawstring, and he's ready to go. Still with his lucky bandana on, and he's going to bowl to Rizwan. Up he comes now, long strides, he's there and he bowls, and Rizwan covers up, plays the ball to mid-wicket, and there's no run. 2 slips there. There is a man down at third man. Cover, mid-off's quite deep, so too mid-on. So short mid-wicket. Joe Root's asking the umpire about something or other. Coming across from first slip, and there's a deep square leg and a long leg. Broad pauses for a moment, looks at the ball. Rizwan taps at the ground a couple of times. Now he's ready. Broad's there, and he bowls to him. He launches into a drive. It's a nice stroke, easy single, but declined. Azhar's back.
Hello, sir.
How often do you see, I was saying to Ebbs, disciplined bowling attacks on top in the game suddenly lose it a bit when the number 10 or 11 comes in and the batsman that's in starts to play a few shots?
Yeah, quite a few times I've seen, and I have done it myself as well.
It's so easy done, isn't it?
It's so easy done.
You just lose the basics. Now look at this. They've got 3 men out now for the hook shot. This is on a pitch in which the ball is moving around, the ball is swinging, but they've got 3 men out for the hook shot potentially. It might come off, but Rizwan might go for it. But again, just underlining what we're saying, mid on and mid off of quite straight, as if that's for a full straight delivery. Broad again comes in, bowls to Rizwan, wide of the off stump, moving away again off the seam. Rizwan ignores it.
I think that's the field, not for the short pitch ball, but Rizwan pick up the length. We saw a couple of hours ago. So he picked up the length and hit through mid-wicket area. Maybe that's the field for that ball, that shot.
Try and block that one off. There's 3 men out there anyway. 2 slips, and then plenty of room.
I thought
for
Rizwan
singles.
played really well
yeah.
with discipline and everything. Now he's running out with a partner, so he wants to play some shots.
There's a single virtually wherever he wants it. Broad again, bowls to him, a bouncer, and that's down the leg side. It misses Butler, and in fact it's gone so far down that Wokes will pick that up from long leg. And they took 1 with 2 balls to go. I wonder if Rizwan is pleased about that or not. It's been gone down as a bye, that, so also a bit of glove on it. But that was the bouncer, and Rizwan took it on. A lively ball, actually. But lucky it wasn't called wides, actually. So 2 balls for Broad to bowl at Mohammad Abbas, and again the field come up, so 3 slips, including Sibley, who's now getting quite a reputation for his ability to hit the stumps for run-outs. The helmet's being brought out as well. Looks like Jack Leach there delivering to Ollie Pope all necessary equipment.
We'll see the short leg. Rizwan wants to take 2, but I think good cover from Wokes, and he was running quickly and throw the ball to the keeper end.
Yes, I think he wanted 2 as well. So there's 2 balls. Mohammad Abbas, who's not yet off the mark. He's survived 10 deliveries. And Broad, using all his experience, comes in from the far end, bowls wide of the off stump though. He won't be pleased with that. Abbas doesn't have to play at it. You just feel yourself tighten a bit, don't you? Your sinews and everything tight. When you've got these 2 balls, I've only got 2 balls at the number 10. It's over try, actually.
It's just sometimes as a bowler, it's very easy to lose that.
Yep.
You just need to pitch the ball in the same area where you're pitching to the top on batsman.
Where you've been bowling all day, basically. Yes. 198 for 8. The new ball is on its way. I can see that. Umpire Saggers has it in his hand. He's on the boundary edge at the moment. And here's the last ball with this particular ball, we'd imagine. Oh, down the leg side. Well, 2 wasted balls, I'm afraid, at the number 10, who didn't have to play at either of those, and Stuart Broad doesn't look happy at all and wanders off chuntering to his position at mid-on. Is Wokes going to take the new ball? It looks as if he might do. It's being delivered anyway by the umpire. Looking for Jimmy Anderson, making sure he's on the field. Where is he? Let's have a look. Wokes is coming over and talking to Broad, who's got hands on his hips and doesn't look very pleased. And where is James Anderson? Looking around the ground for him.
I think I think he's off the field.
I think he's off the field. I can't see him anyway at the moment. No, I think he's okay.
Oh, maybe the down the front. No, Sam is down the front leg.
Who's at mid-on? Could be Anderson.
It's Robinson.
Robinson.
Ollie Robinson, who's called into the squad for this game.
It is. So, I think Anderson is off the field then. So Woakes will keep going with the new ball. Root setting the field. He's going to bowl to Rizwan, who's Pakistan's last stand here, really. There seems Shah to come. I don't think that's not necessarily much of a batting threat as far as England are concerned. He'll be a threat with the ball. 198 for 8. Important runs have been added here by Rizwan. And Woakes on the way, moves in, bowls to him with the new ball. It's flicked away down towards deep square leg. Easy single again should they want it, but again it's declined. And Pakistan remain on 198 for 8. And Rizwan wants to deal in boundaries if he can, or twos of course. Trying to protect the number 10, who's standing down here up at this end with his very baggy jumper on, semi-concealing the chest pad that he's strapped to himself. 45 for Rizwan. He's faced 90 balls and Woakes on his way. Bowls to him down the leg side, a poor ball. Buttler can't stop it. Has that flicked anything en route? No, it hasn't. 4 byes again. And it wasn't a very good ball, I must say, but Buttler took off diving for it despairingly, but got anything on that at all.
It's just a seam movement.
So that, I think, is a 200 for Pakistan, isn't it? It is. The board busily showing replays at the moment. We're missing the second scoreboard, which is normally up on the left-hand side of the ground, but they haven't bothered. There's no one here to look at it. 202 for 8. Woakes again. Moves in, bowls to Rizwan, swinging away a little bit. The limp shot there outside the off stump. As the ball travels through to Buttler. Root gets polishing the ball. He talked about these little sessions with the ball in which England do lose their focus a bit. He was talking about it in the test match gone by at Manchester, and he's right, and it just seems to have happened a little bit here as well.
We've seen a lot in this innings, when you pitch the ball on 4th stump or 5th stump, the ball does a bit, and when you try to bowl a bit straighter, you never swing or seam.
Woakes again, bowls on the off stump, better ball. Rizwan defends, finds cover. 2 balls to go. We'll try and steal this single, so Root gesturing to his fielders to come up, that's including the deep square leg field. I'm going to really try and make an effort now for the bowler down at the other end, Broad presumably, to have a full over at Mohammad Abbas, who gets relaxed, run in and bowl, rather than feel he's only got 1 ball or 2 to get him out. Try and set him up in the course of an over. A couple of short balls, that sort of thing, make him really uncomfortable, but when you've only got 1 or 2 balls at him, you can't do a lot apart from just went up and bowled full and straight. So a bit of a ring field now. And Rizwan has got 2 balls to try and get down to this end. Woakes on his way, bowls swing, comes dancing down the pitch, has a huge swipe and misses. Well, he took the close field on there. He was going for the big glory shot. I'm not quite sure where that would have gone had he hit it. Somewhere over the hotel, I think.
Intention was clear.
It certainly was. So he went for the boundary with that ball. Now, presumably, he's going to try and go for the single, and Mohammad Abbas has have a quiet word with him, saying, I'll be running, I'll run. So will it be a little push and run? What's Woakes going to bowl?
Maybe run for a bye? Yeah.
Is it that desperate?
Why not?
Could be.
Yeah.
Let's see. So this field is really tight here. What's Rizwan going to do? Woakes on his way, runs in, bowls to him, very wide outside the off stump, startlingly wide, and after a moment's hesitation, umpire Gough calls it so, and I think that was right. I mean, I can see what Woakes was trying to do, but that was a very wide ball that was taken in front of first slip. So he goes through the procedure again of wondering what Woakes is going to do.
It's going to go wide, and they've done a lot of.
So that went a long way, didn't it? That seemed a very long way. 203 for 8, last ball of the over. Mohammad Abbas wants to get away. He's watching now as Woakes moves in, bowls a slower ball on the leg stump, turned away to mid-wicket. They've done it. And you can hear the applause from the Pakistan players and management. It's pushed away to mid-wicket. And Wokes won't be happy with that either. It was rather in the slot. And Rizwan could get it away. 204 for 8. Very frustrating for Joe Root. Not so if you're a Pakistani supporter. And Atif's coming in here after some thoughts from you, Azhar.
Nick the single here. Rizwan on strike again. I think that's a positive run for Pakistan. 204 for 8. And if they can manage to get another 15-20 runs here, it will be big boost. Conditions were really tough. I thought Rizwan played really well, and with showed some discipline and commitment and good technique.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Azhar. It's like a bit of a game of cat and mouse right now between the England and Pakistanis. 204 for 8. Pakistan have made it past that 200 barrier and made it to that second new ball. In comes Broad now, and just angling in, it goes up in the air, and just wide of where the third slip fielder would have been. Rizwan takes the first one quickly. He wants a second. It wasn't there. Well, bit of extra bounce there from Stuart Broad with that new ball and getting that, inducing that false stroke, but relatively safe in the end. So he takes a single now. Abbas is exposed for 5 deliveries, up 2 with this new ball. What kind of shots are we going to see from Abbas, Azhar?
You're not going to see any shot from Abbas. Abbas will hang in there. That's his role. And he done it in the past, but it's now a second new ball. So Broad just need to bowl in that area, 4th to 5th stump line, off stump. And ball is doing a lot.
Now there's only a deep backward square leg now, and 4 slips in place. So Stuart Broad going all out attack here. He's got Mohammad Abbas to bowl out. What can he do? In he comes and bowls a full delivery. Abbas works it into the leg side, and no run is scored. He's done well. He's hung about for 13 deliveries so far.
Yeah, one thing he can do always, he's hanging there for his partners. For the last 4-5 years, Pakistan tail is very long. So his job was every time he comes to bat, he has to bat with his senior partner. So which he's done remarkably well for Pakistan.
He had some words of encouragement there for Rizwan as well, particularly after that bizarre mode that he attempted in the previous over. In comes Broad once again, and he just ducked that one. It was a straight delivery, and he ducked it. It was on leg stump line, so it was probably going to miss the legs, hence no one appeal. But, well, he didn't know anything about that delivery, did Abbas? It just kind of spooned up off his hips into the leg side, and he's just lucky to still be there. 205 for 8.
It wasn't that short, I think. It didn't bounce that much. Yeah, it wasn't that short. And he thought it's short. The typical tail-ender.
Yeah, it struck him right in his upper thigh.
He's wearing the chest pad as well.
He's wearing an extra long chest pad that covers him. Stuart Broad now in for his 4th delivery. He bowls just back of a length, going down the leg side this time, and comfortably lets it pass Mohammad Abbas with an exaggerated action as well. Just holds his bat up, a bit like the He-Man cartoons I remember watching in my youth. He just held that bat up. 205 for 8. Crucial runs here for Pakistan. What did you make of that wild shot that Rizwan attempted in the previous over, Azhar? Did that remind you of anything you did back in the day?
I played a lot with the tail, All my 100 came with the tail. So, yeah. So it's just you getting the opportunity and make some runs for the team. And, that's why I said anything run for the boys.
Abbas on strike now and just plays that ball straight back to the fielder at point. No run, one more ball to negotiate.
See, the best thing here, he's not pushing the ball. He let the ball come to him and then play with a soft hand. That's what he does really well.
Dead underneath his eye line as well. He followed that all the way. Perfect technique. For the benefit of the listeners, I can say that Azhar did demonstrate it for us here in the commentary box, and Andy and myself enjoyed it immensely. 4 slips in place. One more delivery to come from Stuart Broad. Mohammad Abbas on strike. He'll be keen to just survive. As Stuart Broad's mentality will be, how can I nip him out in this one delivery? Another attacking fielder coming in. I think it might be a leg slip, yeah.
Leg slip, short leg, and fine leg.
That umbrella field is starting to form, isn't it?
Maybe the bluff here. Full and straight here. I can see the bluff. Won't be a short one.
Let's see if you're right. In comes Stuart Broad now, angling in. He bowls and is a full delivery outside the off stump. He went for the drive that time, Abbas. He was fully suckered into that shot, and he missed it. It went through to the keeper, no run. Pakistan survive another over. 205 for 8. Crucial runs this, Azhar, from Rizwan. And Andy.
Well, crucial non-runs from Mohammad Abbas. He's just passed 500 balls faced in his Test career. He scored 97 runs at an average of 6.9, but has been quite adhesive. His average dismissal rate once every 36 balls. And in terms of strike rate, 19.3 per 100 balls. 484 batsmen this millennium have faced 500 or more balls in Test cricket. Abbas has the slowest strike rate of any of them. Chris Martin, the legendarily useless New Zealand tail-ender, currently knocks off top spot Matthew Hoggard in bronze with a strike rate of 22.6.
We'll take any gold medal we can. Rizwan on strike now to Chris Woakes, and just squared up a little bit, pushes the ball to the backward point region. There's no fielder out there, but no single taken, just refusing these singles for now.
Andy, that was his role. Huh? See, that was I was saying. His average is not great, but he's the one guy who hang in there. You send him, he won't do any silly thing.
Has he benefited?
Unless he got a Jaffa.
Has he benefited, Azhar, from the time he spent at Leicestershire in terms of his batting? Because obviously he was a great bowler, but he spent a lot of time at Leicester batting and working on that, surely. And tell us a bit more after this delivery from Woakes, which is a full delivery, driven back to him by Rizwan, fielded neatly, no run scored.
Yeah, definitely. County cricket, when you play county cricket, that's helped you a lot, or whether you're a bowler or batsman. And yeah, definitely help him. But this guy, we saw him first game he played against, I think, West Indies or somewhere. So he was hanging there with his partner. So we saw, this guy can bat. He's got a good defensive technique, which is required in this level.
Most definitely. In comes Woakes again from wide of the crease, and this time Rizwan punches the ball to the fielder at third man. Again, turns down the single. So halfway through this over now. It's the fifth or the sixth ball, really. He wants that single, isn't it, Azhar?
Yeah, unless you got a ball in your area and you go over the top, or get a loose ball there. But it's always difficult when you see batsman. His pitch is doing enough. Why you having the fielder back? So let him go over the top if he can go, and you can get people out like caught behind.
Yeah, loads of options. Joe Root is still smiling. He's not too irritated by these runs yet. In comes Woakes now. He bowls a shorter delivery outside the off stump. Rizwan cuts, but only as far as the fielder first slip on the bounce. No run score, 205 for 8. And at what point, Azhar, all these runs start to really hurt England?
I think where Pakistan right now, I think they are in good position, and the Pakistan bowler will be enjoying these conditions because of overhead conditions and the floodlights on. And we saw the 80-over ball was doing enough, and it's a lot of encouragement for Pakistan pace attack, because they have excellent pace attack with Abbas himself, moving the ball both ways, and then swing of Shaheen Shah Afridi. He can swing the ball both ways.
Yeah, ball does do a lot still, as will this new ball, which Chris Woakes is coming in with, this time angling into the hips of Rizwan. He glances very, very fine. It's racing away to the boundary, and will it get there? Well, there was a wonderful dive in the deep there, and they've taken 2 runs. We'll probably have another look at that. It was a great effort in the deep. Leg byes in the end. 207 for 8, they're probably not going to have another look at that. I trust the fielding. There's a great stop there in the deep by Curran. Big dive, he got his right hand out to it and flicked it in before his body made contact with the advertising ropes. Did really well there. Great commitment from these England fielders.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic from Sam Curran. All the runs are really important for Pakistan. You see, I don't know, what is the partnership here? I can't see.
It's 31 and 8 overs.
31 runs. Abbas without scoring. So that's the crucial runs for Pakistan.
There's a few leg byes in there as well. In comes Chris Woakes, angling into the pads of Rizwan, who flicks it away nicely to the fine leg region. That was an easy single. England will be annoyed with that. They wanted to keep Abbas on strike, but Rizwan has pinched it. He's moved on to 48. 83 overs gone in this Pakistan innings. 208 for 8.
Clever batting from Rizwan. He knows where the gap is. He just walk across and just tap it to the fine leg area.
How impressed have you been with his maturity, Azhar, of Rizwan's maturity? He's demonstrated a lot of patience and application, just a recognition of the scenario for the Pakistan team?
He's been brilliant. I saw him having 200 against Australia. He always been a good player. He was part of Pakistan team when Sarfraz was captain, and he played a couple of test matches and there as well. So he always worked hard on his game. One of the fittest guy in Pakistan team, and he's a fighter, competitor. You can see him. It was tough condition. I'm really impressed with him and Babar Azam today. The way they batted, they were very disciplined. They leave the ball really well, which is good sign for Pakistan cricket.
Absolutely, they'll be very pleased with the progress Mohammad Rizwan has made here. 48 not out for him. He's facing up now to Stuart Broad. Full delivery, just left Rizwan off the surface, just moved a touch off the bounce and beat him outside the off stump through to the keeper. No run. 103 balls he's faced, Rizwan, in this 48, shown a lot of application.
Look at the seam presentation.
Stuart Broad.
Excellent. A bounce, seam, everything was there. Why can't you bowl 6 ball there? Bring the fielder up.
2 slips in place. He'll be annoyed if it takes the edge and it goes into that 3rd slip region. But they've got a lot of protection in the deep. There's a deep backward square leg. There's a deep cover. There's a deep mid wicket. In comes Broad again, once again. Back of a length, pushed into the covers by Rizwan. He's taking the first one quickly. He wants the second. They're going for the second. It's going to be close. Is he going to make it? It's very close. Stuart Broad managed to connect with the stumps. It wasn't the best throw in the world from the deep, but they're going to have another look at it. The umpires have signalled for a replay. There was a dive in the end from Abbas at the non-striker's end. Desperate to get through for that 2, Pakistan. It was very, very close. A better throw would have been more decisive. Now we're going to have a look at it. The ball came into Stuart Broad. He had to collect it from quite far, and the batsman has comfortably made his ground in the end. He did really well, Stuart Broad, to grasp the ball, but he had to get it. He had to almost fetch the ball to get it back to the stumps, which caused the delay of a split second, which meant Abbas survives.
Abbas is not the quickest. Rizwan is the quickest. In the end, he managed to get in. Rizwan got a 50 now.
Indeed, Mohammad Rizwan, that's his 2nd Test 50 in his 8th Test match. He's batted very well. Crucial innings as well for 104 balls. Andy, can you tell us a bit more about that 50?
Yeah, 4 fours, you say 104 balls. Yeah, well, comes out after this ball from Broad.
He's facing up again, Rizwan, to Stuart Broad. 2 slips in place. He bowls straight ball, just been blocked resolutely by Rizwan. Andy?
For the first couple of hours of the day's play, he only faced about a third of the balls. We saw Babar Azam dominating the strike. It's his 2nd half century, his first rather more aggressive innings, 95 off 145 against Australia in Brisbane in November of last year.
That's very impressive knock as well. As a sign of a really smart player as well, to have all of those shots and have the skill, but to know when to rein them in and not play them so much and hang around. I'll get your thoughts on that. After this Stuart Broad delivery, he comes and he bowls wide of the crease. It's a short one. It's been pulled nicely by Rizwan. There are 2 men out in the deep, and the throw comes in. They'll take just the single. So Abbas will have to negotiate 2 deliveries in this over. 211 for 8.
He always have a shot in his armory, but I'm really impressed today because the ball was hooping around and doing a lot, and he's shown some great technique, temperament, which are really impressed with him. So good to see Rizwan is doing. He can play both ways. If he needs to get runs, so he can play some short, and if he need to defend, so he can play a defensive role as well.
I was just looking at the replay of Stuart Broad dislodging the stumps there in that run-out attempt. He did it so carefully. It reminded me of when you try and light a candle on a birthday cake. It was so delicate. It's extraordinary. In he is, Stuart Broad. He struck him in front of the pads. It's a big appeal for LBW. The umpire says no. Shake of the head. Will there be a review? It seemed to be swinging quite a bit. It struck the batsman in front of leg stump. They're having a little chat. Will they review it? They will, yep. Joe has decided to review that. Big shout for LBW.
Original decision is not out. It's a fair delivery, so it can go on to front on, please.
Just striking the batsman in front of leg.
Roll that back, roll it through to the pad. Okay, clear daylight. We can go on to ball tracking when ready, please.
Toughest next to me shaking his head. Where's your money, Toughest?
Yeah, a little bit high, perhaps going down leg side.
Okay, we've got pitching outside off, impact in line, umpire's call on the stump. So we'll go back to Richard on field.
Just
stay with your original decision.
That would have been.
You're on screen now, Richard.
Yeah, so that's been given not out. England retained the review, of course. I suppose it's worth a review. It's been a while since they.
It was just shaving that. sort of top bail, wasn't it, going down leg side. Good decision by the ump, I think. You'd be disappointed if you're given out by one of those if you're a batsman.
Absolutely. It swung in a long way, as you expect that new ball to do, and
Yeah.
Stuart Broad really getting his wrist behind that one.
Yeah.
He's pushed it through.
Becoming a bit frustrating for England, this is.
At what point does it feel like Pakistan are overachieving?
Now. If you're an England player, that's for sure. I mean, you know, it's 211. They're starting to get a decent score together here. You know, you don't want Pakistan getting 250. And then with the seam bowlers that they have, I mean, Mohamed Abbas is going to be a tricky customer on this pitch with his seam movement.
Ball slips in place as Stuart Broad comes into Abbas, and it takes the outside edge and just bounces short of the fielder at first slip and ricochets towards the boundary. And Chris Woakes will come up and tidy up. They'll run through for 2. Joe Root was so close to taking that catch and ending that partnership there, but in the end it's cost England 213 for 8 after 84 overs. Pakistan still hanging in there. Rizwan on 51 off 106 and Abbas on 2 from 19 deliveries. Phil, what do you make of this?
Well, England aren't very good at this sort of giving, you know, the set batsman a score, you know, and let's say 4 balls and then rotating it and bowling at the other one. I'm still a bit of a believer, you know, on a pitch like this, when the ball's doing so much. Are you off?
Yeah, I'm just going to shoot
sorry,
off.
am I boring you?
No, not at all. Well, I didn't want to say, but hey, I was spending a lot of time with you, Tuffers. After a few more thoughts from yourself, you'll hear from Simon Mann, and he'll listen to you intently, I promise.
Lovely. Yeah, on a pitch that's doing this much, you know, with swing and seam, you've got a new ball in your hand, and yet England's premier bowlers are running up with 7 men on, or 5 or 6 men on the boundary. Okay, it's all right to have the odd one back, but you know, you need to bowl out the batsman.
Here's Woakes, ball to Rizwan, who slices that away towards the deep point area. They're going to come back for 2 runs here, and Rizwan moves to 53, and Pakistan to 215 for 8. Well, I was in this seat 40 minutes ago, and I made the point, when you stop trying to get out one of the players,
exactly,
this is what happens.
It
happens so often.
It does, and we're not very good at it. We're not very good at it. England are not very good at it, because we've seen it a lot in Test cricket, haven't we? And it's frustrating. Just keep bowling to hit the top of off stump and try and get both players out.
Woakes bowls to Rizwan. Rizwan dabs it into the offside. Could have got a single there. Decides against it.
Because I tell you, this is now getting a tricky score on a pitch like this. If England walk out and Pakistan bowl well and they get a bit of luck and England play and get the edges, they could be, you know, 50 for 4 easily on this pitch.
Oh, and the light meters are coming out again.
Right, can someone go and steal those? I might nip round there at tea, take the batteries out, because it's decent light. It's been murky all day.
Here goes Woakes, bowls, dabbed into the offside again, this time straight to cover, and there is no run. That's 3 balls in the over. England with a deep backward point, deep backward square leg, fine leg, deep mid off.
Here we go.
Long on.
Here we go.
Yeah, better get off the field.
Yeah. What else would you use a light meter for?
The people who take photographs use a light meter, I think.
Yes,
they do.
that's very good, yeah.
Get off the field, that's it. I would get off the field. Yeah, we've had a bit too much cricket.
Oh, hello! I say. There's a booze coming from the back of the box here.
I feel we should represent the 15,000 people who aren't here.
It's been like this all day. Obviously, it's slightly got dimmer. Otherwise, they wouldn't have, called them off. But crikey, I mean, it's been like this all day.
No, we've had a lot of cricket already today. It's time to get off.
Well, I tell you, I don't know whether they'll get back on, because you can't see any breeze away to blow these clouds away. So if you're not going to play in this, I can see this being the end of the day.
Well, it could be.
I like that boo. I mean, it was real sort of heartfelt, wasn't it?
Who was it? Andy Zoltz.
It's pathetic.
The gloves are off from Zoltz on the far side of the box.
Go on, Zoltz. Give us a minute. Come on.
Well, just someone who loves cricket and loves Test cricket and all the competition there is in the sporting world and the entertainment world, even within cricket competing against itself, you should just play as much as you can. But this, as you were saying, it doesn't seem to be discernibly dark out there.
No, it must have dipped a little bit, but you know, if you're not going to play in this when you've been running about in it all day, I can't see him coming back on.
I think you're right, Thomas. I mean, it's been uniformly great all day, and there's no breaks in the crowd. Well, there's breaks in the crowd, but no breaks in the cloud at all.
But why is the default position not to stay on until it's, you know, really difficult or really bad light? What the default position seems to be to go off.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they have taken a reading, results presumably sometime yesterday, and as soon as it goes to that reading, that is it. You've got to come off.
Why?
Why?
What, can we ring someone up and ask them at the ICC?
Because the world is illogical, and cricket is very happy to get a gun out and shoot itself in the foot.
Yes. And also, I know this might sound very, very strange, but there are sort of darker darkness and there's sort of lighter darkness.
Where are you going with this, Thomas? Where are you going with that?
Sometimes it's obviously dark, but this isn't sort of obviously dark, even though it's perhaps dark. It's sort of light dark.
I know what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it comes in and...
It's not great light, but we should be playing in it. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it, I think?
I agree. And it's been uniform, as you said, all day. It's been grey, not dark. But anyway, enough about the light meters. They're off.
Yeah. Well, it comes... I mean, it's a slightly left field suggestion, but it comes back...
Have you got another one?
Well... It's only something I've mentioned before, that in a situation like this, just get the pink ball out. We play pink ball test matches. You know, it's about playing the blasted game. Not going off the field the whole time. Play the game, for goodness sake.
Some passion coming out of you here, Simon. I've never seen you so livid.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that would be a good idea. Call for the pink ball. And sort of like have it sent out on a silver platter. But it is annoying. But I think England will be annoyed as well because they're in a good position. And once again, you know, too many fielders on the boundary. And once you stop, as you said, trying to get the main batsman out, it just gives the impetus and the initiative back to the side that's in trouble. It's always amazed me.
Tea's been taken.
All right.
Play will resume at 4:32, light permitting. But you make a very valid point, and a day like today...
It ain't getting no better.
Is it going to get any better than this? Anyway. England picked up 3 wickets in that afternoon session, but Rizwan played really well.
Yeah, he did.
And England helped him a bit, I think, with their tactics. The sort of, you have the spin over before lunch tactic in the captain's manual. Have the put the field back manual as well, which was adhered to.
They must surely... I mean, we've said this. We've been sitting here.
Jonathan's coming in.
Okay.
Anyway.
Oh, you're off as well.
Yeah.
Just as I start talking, they all go off. Is it something I've said? But there must be a stat, Andy, or something that we can perhaps... Well, I'm sure that the England team have about how to get tail-end partnerships out and what is the right way of going about it. Because at the moment, and I've seen it so many times, and especially in England, that we're not very good at it, is that we just seem to sit back and give them too much time just to try and make a bit of a counter-attack to nick a 30 or 40 run partnership instead of just trying to get them out, John. You're not going to go, are you?
I'm going nowhere. I think it's all a cunning plan.
Oh, okay.
How's this? I think the umpires and the officials in this Test series and the last are dead against 4-day Test cricket, and they're just proving that 4-day Test cricket will be pointless because you wouldn't get enough play in, so just making sure that everyone realises that.
They want a little bit of extra bunts for the 5th day.
That is like 5-day Test cricket. Toughers, as we all do.
We're getting very pessimistic now, sat here, as the covers go on.
I know.
Why is that going on?
I don't know why that's coming on.
Oh, we're having a right moan up here.
Yeah, we are. Well, I've just had a FaceTime with my wife. It's beautiful blue sky at home.
No, well, it always
Anyway, it seems to have it's just hung around down here.
Yeah.
It's just following us all around. It did so at Manchester, where of course it's beautiful the last few days. And anyway, on come the covers. There's no sign of any rain, but they're just doing it, I don't know, to keep the engine ticking over or something. And so that'll be going... I don't think it'll be going absolutely over the pitch. I hope not, because it's still got some work to do. We've got the groundsman there with his gas mask on and a blue bucket. So he's up to doing what he has to do during tea. And so we will all take tea, as the players are, and we'll hope for some sort of resumption afterwards.